This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnke, and as always, I'm here with Matt Stewart. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Dave. How are you?
Well, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Well, now I've got this chat out of the way, we may as well bring in a special guest this week, joining us from Sanspants Radio, but also getting fruity with Matt and the Boys star.
Yeah.
It's Jackson Baly.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got his credits back to front there.
I was
You buried the
One
lead.
is a lot more well known.
Yeah.
That's true. My time getting fruity.
One of the boys.
Yeah.
From Getting Fruity with Matt and the Boys.
One of the boys.
Jackson Baly. Have you said his name?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It's
Why
come out.
said it
I
again?
think I called him one of the stars.
Right.
That's good. That's yeah.
It's a name so nice I said it twice. Jackson Baly.
That's too many compliments.
I like your middle initial, which you don't always
Jackson
use.
Ronald
Jackson
Lin-
B.
so
B.
B's
Bailey.
fake.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I also was toying in my mind of, do I say Jackson B. Bailey? Is that a thing?
So my middle names are Ronald and Lindsay, which are awful.
Great.
Yeah.
I think they're fantastic.
I lucked out there.
They suit your glasses.
Thank you.
Jackson R.L. Bailey.
Well, see, I don't like it because I think R.L. Bailey makes me feel like I write like fat fantasy novels
Yeah.
with a wizard and a tiger
Yeah,
on the
that's 'cause-
front or whatever. I'm not a fan. Jackson B. Bailey is fun. It's flirty. you
Yeah.
know? Who's this guy? Woo! Jackson B.
Bouncy.
Bailey. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's bouncy. J.R.L. Bailey. Christ.
I actually love it.
See, he wears a fedora.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I guess R.L. Bailey, R.L. Stein, that's pretty cool. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a tough one.
But I think, you've got both.
Yeah, well, I can pick and choose, which is nice.
That's
yeah.
that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Your secret identity,
Yeah.
B. Bailey. Or your real identity,
Yeah.
fedora wearing R.L. Stein. Bailey.
Well, we should probably say, and thank you so much for joining us, Jackson.
Anytime, of course.
The reason that Jess Perkins isn't here this week, our esteemed co-star, is sadly she is sick this week. So, of course, hashtag pray for Bob.
Pray for Bob, please.
We hope she gets well soon. But thank you so much for stepping up,
That's like anytime.
filling in the Bop role this week.
I'm happy to be Bob.
Yeah, so you're now, what, you're an equal 5th or 6th most ever guest on this show.
Whoa.
I've got the record. I've been on all episodes.
Yeah, okay.
He's,
But
he's
I'm coming in 5th or 6th.
Yeah, something like that, I reckon.
Matt's a real dictator.
Yeah.
But if you get in with him, he'll get you on.
It's nice to know my place immediately. That's good. You don't get that often enough.
Honestly,
Guessing on
Jackson,
a
for
show.
me, it's first
Yeah.
and then just equal last. So you and Dave are on the same amount of
that's
episodes.
good.
That's not true. I'm pulling away from Jess now, and I'm in the top 2. And I'm coming for your title, Stuart.
First loser.
I'll remain equal last with myself. That's a safe place to be.
Equal last with the douche as well.
Well, that's
your
true, yes.
Sanspants mate.
Yeah, my esteemed co-host, Joel Dusha. That's true. Equal last.
But you've got big news, Dave. Is that right? Was that fair to say?
Oh, my goodness. How have you not let me say it yet? That is, of course, we are doing some more live online shows coming up. We did a few of these a couple of months ago. It was a bit of an experiment. And let's just say it was a success because it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I hope this isn't overstating it, but it was the time of my life.
Yeah, wow. It really gave us a reason to live.
Honestly, loved my time there and the live streams. Looking forward to doing them again. So they can find out more details at saucepresents.com. There'll be a link in the show notes.
That's right. And the dates are, there's going to be 4 Saturdays at 12 o'clock on Melbourne time, which is our local time. July 18th, July 25th, August 1st, a special show, that one, because it is our 250th episode.
That's amazing.
And afterwards, in the same ticket price, we will, of course, be having a little celebration.
Yeah.
250.
Ooh.
And all the other, we'll be doing an extra post-show thing on
Yeah,
all the
that's
live
right.
streams that are exclusive to the live streams. So the live streams go about twice as long as the episodes, and we'll have a little party, swigging on some cognac, that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be sipping away. And then there's one more, August the 8th. And we cannot wait.
And if you want, you can get tickets for all of them. But if you do that, you can get them 3 for the price of 4. No, 4 for the price of 3.
There is a
Special deal.
Just a kindness.
there's a little glitch, but thank you so much for your extra money. We'll lock you out of that 4th episode.
Season pass, you get, and 1 episode free. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jackson B. Bailey.
Yes.
You have a similar, if they go to
not to muddy the waters, but I got
saucepresents.com.
a similar deal happening. Because I am similarly... Yeah,
Do not undercut us on our own show.
Oh my god. But yeah, if you had to Sauce Presents, I am doing a similar thing, a live performance streamed.
Ooh, live performance art.
Yeah, thank you. Which is me and my previously stated esteemed co-host Joel Dusha, my other co-host Joel Zammett, playing D&D, ruining D&D if we can, live on stage. And
with one of the other boys?
With Adam, with one of the other boys from Getting Fruity with Matt and the Boys. I think the premise is that he's Narnia'd us into D&D and we're causing a whole bunch of trouble.
Right.
So, yeah, if you had to Sauce Presents, it's July 11th, July 4th, and July 27th. So.
Adam Cannavale.
Head there.
He's the apple of my eye.
What a man.
Yeah, such a great man. Anyway, we should get on with this show.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it works, Jackson,
Yes.
assuming you listen every week, but just for those at home who are tuning in for the first time, all those new listeners you've drawn across with you.
Welcome.
The way it
My
works
flock.
is one of the three of us, it's not you if you're sweating at all, one of the three of us goes away and researches a topic. We really deep dive into it, bathe in it, live it for a week or so. And we come back and we tell the other two what we've learnt. The topic's normally been suggested by a listener. This week, Dave is doing the topic. And to get us on the topic, we ask a question. Dave, what is the question this week?
My question for you two gentlemen is, which is the only country crazy enough to kidnap two prominent filmmakers to make a movie about a metal-eating, ass-kicking, Godzilla-like monster?
Well, this feels like something Jackson probably knows.
Is this North Korea?
The answer is North Korea.
Oh,
Ding, ding,
hell
ding.
yeah.
Jeez, that played into Jackson's hands. I'm like, weird knowledge.
Damn.
Do you know much about this incident?
Oh, I know of it, but I don't know any specifics.
And how about you, Matt? Do you know that North Korea kidnapped two prominent filmmakers to make a movie about a metal-eating, ass-kicking Godzilla-like monster?
No, I did not know about it. I'm fascinated to find out how recent this is.
Yeah, because it could be, it could be like last year. You just don't know.
I've got to say a big thank you to Travis Alexander from Gulfport, Mississippi for suggesting this topic.
Oh,
Gulfport.
he's not the guy who's a big kaiju fan, maybe? Am I saying that right?
I think so.
Kaiju means big monsters.
Kaiju?
Kaiju?
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Might be wrong. Might be wrong.
I don't like the amount of times I've been glanced at. I don't know either.
I just assume Jackson knows everything.
That's fair. Yeah.
It's funny having two of my friends who I think know everything on the podcast at the same time. You can share the load today.
He knew
That's
it.
so
He knew
nice.
North Korea. You
Yeah.
went straight in
I
there.
was lucky there.
You proved me right.
I think it's kaiju. I don't know.
Well, thank you so much to Travis for suggesting this topic because it turned out to be a wild ride. So a very quick few-sentence summary on the very complicated relationship between North and South Korea for a bit of backstory here.
Great.
But I am by no means an expert, and this is by no means all-encompassing. But here we go. So after World War II, Korea was divided into Soviet and US-administered zones, with the Soviet back north and the US back south.
Okay.
Following, Matt?
Checks
Following
out.
me?
Yeah, that's
So at
makes
that
sense.
point, Korea was one country?
Well, before that, it had been occupied by Japan, but then they were part of the losing side of World War II.
Right. Oh, yeah, right, because they're very different countries now.
Yeah.
It makes sense that...
There would be
they
a
were-
reason for that.
Yeah.
It was a bit like,
Whoa.
at the end of World War II, they divided up Germany and Berlin.
Yes. Very similar to that, only now Germany's got back together.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. But sadly, North Korea and South Korea are still
Remain divorced.
very
Yeah.
divorced. The Soviets installed the dynamic, young communist guerrilla Kim Il-sung, who became the first premier of North Korea. They put him in charge.
What made him dynamic?
Yeah.
He was a young go-getter, very charismatic guy,
Okay.
great
I'm
speaker.
charmed. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Pop color?
yeah. Oh, he had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A sort of joie de vie.
Yeah, certain. How do you say? You know what I'm saying?
Je ne sais quoi.
Yes, that's
for
the
sure.
word. I'm looking
Okay.
for.
All right.
And I'm sure they use that in North Korea. North and South then had a bitter war, both wanting control of the entirety of Korea. They were both like, it's not North or South Korea, and still isn't. To them, they're both like, you're in our bit.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
That's why they're like the People's Democratic Republic of Korea and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
This is known as the Korean War and raged for 3 years, lots and lots of death, until an armistice was signed in 1953. It's technically just like a bit of a ceasefire type thing, but the tension was never really resolved. In the north, Kim Il-sung held onto power for more than 45 years, styling himself as supreme leader and controlling every element of his citizens' lives.
Getting to choose your title would be sick.
Yeah. What
Being
would you
like,
go
what
with?
kind of leader am I? Like,
No, Supreme is pretty good.
it's the best kind of pizza.
Have you gone? Yeah, you've gone pizza menu, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm the Capricciosa leader.
I'm holding anchovies.
Yeah, no, thank you.
That's good.
So that's the country's background. But for the purpose of this story, and just something that I found interesting when researching this, do you know that in Korea, surnames of the families are written first? For example, Kim Jong-il, his surname is Kim.
Right.
That's why the three people that have been dictator of Korea are all Kims. And they share that name. Family names weren't really a thing in Korea until Japan conquered them in the early 20th century, and the vast majority of Koreans chose from a handful of names, the most common being Kim, Lee, Park, and Shin.
Were they like names that somebody else had selected as options, or were they just the ones that were popular?
I think it was stuff like, it meant like sacred or
okay.
powerful, like these sort of, and you wanted to have a name with a statement.
Oh, yeah,
so they were
for sure.
the common ones. And now these days, only 270 surnames are shared by 75 million Koreans.
How many?
270.
Right.
So there's not that many options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why when my family chose our name, I think it was to get a similar sort of not powerful or sacred. It means Starwater, but still, I think it says a lot of what they were going for.
Yeah.
They looked after that sty.
Glamorously.
Yeah.
I know my mum's surname, Kremborg, either means Castle of the Crows, which is great. That's
cool.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Or Garbage Castle, depending on how you translate it, which is less cool.
Still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It either means that I guess people were like, their castle just sucks shit. Like they
made the most of it.
Yeah, or if there's a lot of crows. I guess if you have a castle with a lot of garbage in front of it, it will attract crows.
Could be both.
Yeah, so it could be both.
Could be sort of depending on how you look at it. Glass half empty sort of thing.
Okay, so we got that backstory bit out the way, the context. So let's kick off this tale. Shin Sang-ok was born in Japanese-occupied Korea in 1920. So from here out, I mostly call this guy Shin.
Cool.
It's his surname. He prospered during the golden age of South Korean cinema in the late 1950s and 60s, working prolifically as a director, often putting out 2 or more films per year.
Right. That is prolific.
Yeah.
He was nicknamed the Prince of South Korean cinema, and The Guardian refers to him to this day as the Orson Welles of South Korea, so really influential.
Yeah, for sure.
Also smashing it during the golden age was actress Choi Eun-hee. And I apologise to any Korean listeners. I did look up, so her name is spelt Choi, which often, when pronounced in Western languages, is Choi. But they apparently say, and I'm attempting this here, Chair.
Right.
So I'll refer to her as Chair. Possibly sometimes I'll misread it as Choi because it's hard to not look at it and think Choi.
Fair.
But that's who I'm talking about. And she was part of a trio of actresses at the forefront of South Korean cinema. She met the director Shin after she was cast in one of his films. They had black bean noodles, and the rest is history.
Oh, I love black bean noodles.
Yum.
What a date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I say the rest is history, but they have one of the most bizarre love stories you'll ever hear about, which we'll talk about. The couple married in 1954 and continued to work together on such films as The House Guest and My Mother, A Flower in Hell, and The Memorial Gate for Virtuous Women.
These are great titles.
Great titles.
I want to see all those films.
Everyone evocative.
Chair won many acting awards and Shin won many for directing. Together, they founded Shin Film. Both very famous, they were the power couple of their day.
That day sound like an absolute power couple.
Oh, huge power couple. Most famous director in the country. She's one of the most famous actors in the whole country. And together, they formed their own company. They also adopted a son and a daughter.
Oh, that's great.
So things were going well.
Yeah.
But Chair would later say that Shin, her husband, was bad at expressing emotions. For example, they apparently never said, I love you, to one or the other. He was apparently a little too obsessed with his films. And things went from bad to worse when Shin was found to be cheating on his wife.
With a film. Just a canister of film. I love you, baby.
I love you. You don't love me. I love this virtuous young woman, the film. Chair was pretty surprised. This is a quote from her. She was a young and inexperienced actress. How dare she challenge someone of my status?
Oh, whoa.
That's why she was annoyed by it. Like, know your place.
Look, if it was somebody better than me,
Yeah, all right.
then that would have made sense. There's a power dynamic here. Get used to it.
But Shin had 2 children with his mistress, and Choi had enough and divorced Shin in 1976. So suddenly things not going so well for the
After
power
a few
couple.
decades, though.
Yeah, they had some happy times.
Had some good times. As well as suffering in their personal lives, the two also suffered in their professional lives in this period. South Korea's government was very conservative and authoritarian at the time, something I did not realise. Because these days, you got North Korea, and we all know how strict, crazy regime they are. But in South Korea, you're like, oh, they've got democracy.
Yeah, best flag in the world.
They're so advanced. Oh, you love
their
it?
flag.
Yeah, it's
It is.
good.
You're not into it?
No, but best in the world. Wow, that's tricky.
That's a claim.
Yeah, it's a tough call, but I think I reckon it is.
I mean, does it rival the Mozambique flag with an AK-47?
Yeah, that's sick, though.
Yeah, I like keeping it a little more simple than that. I like the big circle. Like Japan's flag's great. It's in a similar sort of vibe. Which, yeah, is there a connection?
Is that because they used to be occupied by Japan,
Yeah.
maybe?
I don't know.
Question without notice.
That's a good possible theory. I like the simple ones because when you're a kid in primary school, which is the most common time you'll find yourself drawing your country's flag.
Yeah.
If you're in Japan, you've got it made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you're in Mozambique, you're drawing that AK-47.
that would be
true.
fun to draw.
That would be fun.
Ours sucks because it's got it's got the other country's flag in the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah.
No, actually, it's got 3 other countries' flags in the corner.
Yeah, that's very true.
And America, you're drawing 50 stars.
And
I mean,
stars are hard to draw when
Yeah.
you don't
Too
know the
hard.
trick to drawing stars, you know?
I saw the flag that the Prime Minister was standing in front of at a recent press conference. I noticed that the stars are made up of multiple triangles stitched together. Do we not have the technology just to cut out a star? Or is that part of what the official Australian flag has to be at Government House?
I don't know.
I'm asking you again, Dave.
That I don't quite. Do you mean like as in like how you draw a star, like a triangle over a triangle?
Yeah, so there's multiple triangles, so you can see the stitching inside the star as well.
That's
It's real
amazing.
strange.
That's ridiculous.
I'm like that. Surely they can just get a machine to cut out a star now.
Yeah.
But is it written
for
in the
sure.
Constitution it has to be made up of multiple triangles?
Maybe.
This is a weird sidetrack early.
Yeah, but I'm intrigued because I'm also weirdly struggling to picture our flag for some reason. That's not very Australian of me. Unpatriotic.
A little
Yeah.
un-Australian right
Yeah.
now.
Oh dear.
well, would you like a little explanation of the South Korean flag? Let's go down this tangent.
Great.
Yeah.
The flag's... This is from Wikipedia, so let's hope it's right. The flag's field is white, a traditional colour in Korean culture.
Okay.
There you go. The colour represents peace and purity.
That's nice.
The circle in the centre represents balance in the universe. The red half, which is the upper half, if you can imagine it, represents positive cosmic forces.
Oh my god, I love this flag.
Whoa.
The blue half represents the opposing negative cosmic
Oh,
forces.
no.
Shout out to the negative.
Yeah, I like that. But it's not on top.
Yeah, that's true.
It's under control.
It's losing.
Together, the trigrams there you go, represent movement and harmony as fundamental principles. Each trigram represents one of the 4 classical elements, as described below,
Whoa. This is a complex flag.
which can either mean heaven, sun, moon, and earth in English, or spring, autumn, winter, summer, or east, south, north, west, or father, daughter, son, mother,
Oh,
or heaven, fire, earth, water,
art. Go
or
planet.
justice, fruition, wisdom, and vitality.
And ours is just like Britain used to own us.
I know.
Sort of still does.
That's top left.
And here's a Southern Cross.
Yeah, that's up in the sky from the wall of Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's blue.
And then blue sky.
Yeah, there you go.
Blue is blue.
Yeah.
Blue's a good colour.
And it'll never change. I'd love it to change, but I think it's too hard to. Like New Zealand tried to change theirs, and I think even when the majority wants to change the flag, you can't get the majority to pick a new design. So the old design's always going to, if not the majority, will have more than any individual
Yeah,
alternative
because there's
design.
50 options.
Yeah.
And even if one of them gets 10%, that
There's
seems
enough
like a
people
lot.
who
Yeah.
are like, let's stick with the one we've got.
But the AK-47 on the Mozambique, that's got to be new because we didn't always have
That's true.
AK-47, so it worked once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How did they get there?
I'm guessing it wasn't via a plebiscite.
Some sort of military coup, and it was sending a message to their former opponents, perhaps.
Very possibly.
That's a beautiful description of a flag. A beautiful flag.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic flag. I do. Now I'm looking at it. You're right. Top 5 for sure. South Korean's government was very conservative and authoritarian at the time, and enforcing strict censorship and constantly interfering with films being made. They didn't like the films Shin was making, and the president at the time stepped in and shut down his film company and made it impossible for him to find work. So after making at least 60 movies in 20 years, Shin's career appeared to be over. His now ex-wife, Choi, was also suffering in the political climate and found herself out of work and in debt.
Wow.
Dead.
So it's not going well.
Oh, it's. I mean, I don't know what kind of the economy was doing, how much the movie stars were getting paid, but it feels like after being in so many famous big films, you should be cruising.
Yeah. I think it's crazy that this feels like the low point in the story, but they've yet to be kidnapped to make a monster movie.
Well,
you know?
they'll look back with these times when they have poverty with rose-coloured glasses. Let's just say that. So Choi was in serious debt when in 1978, a wealthy filmmaker from a company called the Golden Tripod Film Company, based in Hong Kong, asked to meet with her with the offer of a large sum of money to appear in one of their films. It seemed like a lifeline that she needed. The meeting would end up changing her life, but not in the way she hoped. She flew to Hong Kong for the meeting and was met at her hotel by a lady called Lee Sang-hee and Lee's young daughter. Lee was a shopping and tour guide and took Choi out for the day, and after the shopping and sights suggested that the three of them, Choi, Lee and Lee's daughter, go to a house near the beach owned by the filmmaker that had flown Choi out, just to enjoy the view.
Beautiful.
Sounds lovely. So Choi was on the beach playing with Lee's daughter when Lee yelled out, "Hey, quickly, come over here." Choi approached and saw 4 large men standing by a speedboat, and before she knew it, one of the men wrestled her into the boat, and it took off.
Oh my god. Hey,
Kidnapped
you look
by a
over here.
speedboat.
That's never good to hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They
what?
should have
Oh
been
my
rolling on this.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
sounds like a Bond film or something.
Yeah, my god.
That would have been terrifying.
Totally. And then she next awoke in a cargo ship, so she passed out for some reason.
You would.
She woke up with a doctor, and this is why she was passing out, a doctor giving her many injections,
Oh no.
drugging her.
Oh my
Oh
god.
Jesus.
And this lasted for 8 days, so she'd wake up for a bit,
Oh, that's
be put back down.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Were the injections just like what do you call them? Anesthetics or?
Yeah, something to keep her knocked out, or at least, out of her mind
Placid,
enough
yeah.
that she just
Wow.
had no idea what was going on for over a week.
God.
Finally, they hit land, and as she wearily walked from the boat, rugged up in a jacket, she saw the flashes of cameras going off all around her. Choi was used to this sensation from her experience on the red carpet, but she had barely any energy and was wondering what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
She looked up as she heard a deep voice in front of her. "Thanks for coming," it said, when the man was holding out his hand. He said, "I am Kim Jong-il," and shook her hand.
Oh, when did Kim Jong-il get in? So he was around for quite a while.
So at that time, Kim Jong-il was the son of the Supreme Leader,
Right.
Kim Il-sung, and he was the heir apparent to North Korea.
My god.
And he was being groomed up by his father to replace him for like a couple of decades before Kim Il-sung actually died. And Kim Jong-il, the son, assumed the title of Dear Leader and had a great deal of power in the country. But also got to enjoy himself a bit more because he wasn't actually
Yeah.
Yeah.
seen as
He
the
was only
Supreme Leader. He's just
leading the deers, not
deer
the
leader.
humans.
Yeah.
Hey, over here. Before this time and since the 1960s, Kim had been director of the Motion Picture and Arts Division, part of the Propaganda and Agitation Department of North Korea, which they call something else, I will say.
Yeah. Nobody really calls their propaganda.
But that's
And
yeah,
they've got the Department for Greatness and being real good at a country.
being the best country in the world. Check it out.
Kim saw himself as an artist and a film buff, and in 1973 had even published a book called On the Art of Cinema.
Oh, wow. Are copies of that book available?
I reckon
What a
you can get
read.
Apparently it is the preeminent book on North Korean filmmaking. I don't think they let
No.
many people publish books over there.
My God.
Choi at this time was very confused as to why she'd been brought to North Korea.
Yeah. You would be, yeah, that checks out.
Suddenly she's just talking to... And He's a famous guy, so she knows who he is.
Yeah. It's so hard to fathom. Imagine somebody's like, hey, come to, Hong Kong. Do go on for us. We're going to pay you a great deal of money. Wrestle into a speedboat. Kim Jong-un's like, great, you're doing it for North Korea now.
Isn't that... You wonder if they just asked her. She wasn't making movies anymore.
Yeah, no,
and it sounds like it costs what they had to buy the 4 large men.
Yeah.
They don't come cheap.
Speedboat, cargo ship.
Why not just use that money to pay her to be in the movie? Or do they try that? Because it feels like you would get better...
You get a more cooperative actor.
Yeah, you're right. I reckon you'll get a better performance out of someone who wants to be there and hasn't been drugged for a week.
There's so many weird steps. Like if you're having them come to your country to just be like, hey, be in my movies. Maybe like drugging them. Like I don't know. Kim Jong-il's reaction doesn't seem like, you know what I mean? Like if she wasn't drugged, he wouldn't know the difference. Kind of.
Right.
Yeah. He was just like, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
like
thanks
she
for coming.
hadn't been drugged.
Yeah.
Shook a hand. Great to meet you. I'm Kim Jong-il.
Yeah, like which is not like but I guess if you're Kim Jong-il, yeah, I don't know.
This is wild.
I got to tell you, it is a crazy, crazy story. So she's in North Korea, but no one knows what's happened to her. Hong Kong police were called to Chair's hotel after she disappeared and failed to pay her bill. They were like, where is this lady? They discovered her hotel room completely as she left it. Clothes, makeup still out. It didn't look like someone who had done a runner. They were immediately suspicious that something weird had happened.
Well, yeah.
A copy of one of Shin, her ex-husband's film scripts called Woman Slave Ship, was discovered in her supposed tour guide Lee Sang-hee's room. She also didn't come back to pay her bill, so they searched her room.
Mm-hmm.
Discovered a script as well as a one-way boarding pass from North Korea to Hong Kong. And that's when people were like, huh, this is weird.
Hey, a clue.
Yeah,
Oh.
why has that clue been left there?
Yeah.
You think that they'd be better at covering up this sort of international espionage stuff, don't you?
Absolutely.
Back in South Korea, Shin Sang-ok heard that his ex-wife was missing and immediately flew to Hong Kong to search for her, assuring their children that he would find her and bring her back.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because
The
as
kids
a
also-
director, he's very good at searching Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I
Dad,
think-
should you not like Interpol? No, I'll do it myself.
I'll
Just
do it.
me.
I've seen a few movies about spies.
Yeah, I've made a few movies
Yeah.
about spies.
I can figure it out. It's
If
not
I was,
hard.
If I was to write this next scene, I know where I'd find him. When he got there, he was interviewed by police telling them that he thought Choi had been abducted by North Korean operatives. He was fearful that he might become kidnapped himself, so he asked for a police guard. It's not clear if he actually got one.
Okay.
But he was pretty spooked.
Rightfully so.
But he did go to Hong Kong.
Is there a level of arrogance to assuming that you're so good you'll get kidnapped by a dictatorship?
Well, they kidnapped my ex-wife.
Well, that's true.
Surely they...
He's
They
like,
would want my incredible directing skills.
I mean, I'm probably slightly more famous than her, so...
He starts hanging around speedboats. Oh, I could easily fall into this. You just pushed me a little bit.
if somebody said, "Hey,
Large
look
man.
over here," I would. So
You just
Look, I already am. Looking over here.
winking at large men on the street. Shin started doing some of his own investigating and reached out to a local contact. His old friend and former business partner, a man named Kim Koo-ha. Had a crack there. The two met up. But what Shin didn't really know was that Kim Koo-ha was also secretly a North Korean agent.
oh my god.
His
That's-
friend and former business partner.
Wow. How long's this been in the works?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Is it been undercover or is it...
Yeah, like are they? Is this was like a spur of the moment thing?
Because I think he's just seen like, oh, my mate lives in Hong Kong. I'll ask him if he's heard anything.
Yeah,
Turns out that guy was actually also
That
working.
was the plan all along.
Imagine the long game. Shin's children lost contact with their father, and then the newspaper started reporting that he too was missing.
my god.
Newspapers speculated, had the couple both defected to work in North Korea together, or had Shin been killed by the South Korean government to stop him from making future controversial films? Rumour mill went into overdrive. It would be years before the truth was known, and that was that Shin had met his old friend and former business partner, Kim Koo-ha, without knowing that he was a North Korean operative. Kim had taken Shin out to Hong Kong Island when their car suddenly stopped and three men got in wearing long wigs. Which is funny. Like, I'm sort of going into cover as like a Led Zeppelin cover band or something. I don't know.
ZZ Top. That's
What are they doing? One of them put a bag over Shin's head and forced him to inhale chloroform, and he was blacked out.
Oh, right.
That'll do it to you.
That'll take you out.
They're so elaborate in their like kidnapping attempt. Like I keep thinking about the speedboat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if the speedboat's going to a cargo ship, just start with the cargo ship, you know?
Well, just bring her to a dock.
Yeah.
Put it on the
Or
cargo
you could be
ship.
like, hey, there's a cool sheep thing down at the docks.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, she would have just said sure to anything.
Yeah, it feels like that the kidnappers specifically keep putting stuff on the docket like, oh, we'll need a speedboat.
Yeah.
We'll need some wigs for this kidnapping.
I really like some Ray-Bans. I think my character, which I'm calling him, would wear Ray-Bans.
Totally. They should have just said, oh, that's why it doesn't make... Why not just say we're shooting in North Korea? Maybe that would have been a bit too sus. But we're shooting on a cargo ship as possible.
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe it's... I don't know why I went Cockney for a second there. I reckon it's the kind of thing where maybe Kim Jong-il's like, I want them forever, you know?
Right.
Oh, but you're saying like, come film in North Korea and they come there and then they don't get to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does seem clever.
Or you just treats them so well that they want to come back as required.
If they were like, Matt Stewart, can you come to North Korea and do your comedy? Would you go? Maybe.
Well, you probably could come and go, but I think, especially back at this time, South Koreans, once you went to North Korea, you're not allowed back.
Right.
You're seen as a real traitor.
Oh.
You get legit could be jailed.
Oh, wow.
Right, okay.
For defecting,
Gotcha.
essentially. So it would be difficult to do a movie there and then come back and go home.
Are you suggesting I'm a bit naive to 1970s Korean politics? Because you're wrong.
So he's now disappeared as well. He's been abducted by men in wigs. Meanwhile, Cher had been taken in North Korea to a Western-style house, quite a nice villa, with no idea what was to become of her. At the time, she was worried that she'd be offered as a gift to the country's leader, Kim Il-sung.
Oh, that's not a nice
that
phrase.
sucks. That's fair.
Because she's like, I'm a very famous South Korean,
Yeah, oh yeah.
movie
Like
star.
a gift, like a
bride?
like a pet or something.
Yeah, no, like a bride
Like an
type thing.
Oh my
Like
god.
a concubine type sort of thing.
That's fucked.
Yeah, gross.
Oh, yeah, and she was summoned to meet his son, Kim Jong-il, a few days later. Kim Jong-il was a 5'2" man who wore 5-inch platform heels and combed his hair up to make himself appear taller.
That rolls.
And I really dig that because I'm wearing my boots right now with a bit of a heel. My hair's going right up.
Yeah.
I'm related to this guy.
Does it work like a high hair? Are you like, wow, that guy's...
Yeah. Trump does a bit of that, doesn't he? He has heels and high hair.
Yeah, but I think
true.
he is also like 6'6" or something.
Yeah, he just wants to really
he wants
get
that
up
extra
high.
Yeah, he wants to be 8 foot tall.
He's 6'6".
He's pretty
That's
tall.
tall.
I think he might be him and Abraham Lincoln are the tallest ever US president.
And Abe had a big hat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Abe was tall.
Yeah.
If you told me Abe Lincoln was like 8 foot, I wouldn't have shocked me.
Let's look it up.
I am picturing an Abraham lookalike on stilts, though.
For some reason...
That's some sort of July 4th celebration.
Oh, yeah, fair. For some reason, I'm picturing Abraham Lincoln in a bath, and he's like so big that his knees are like really high up, but he's still wearing the hat.
I also just realized I was actually picturing the Uncle Sam I Want You guy. But they're not that far off each other.
Also, that guy could be as tall as you want because he doesn't exist, right?
Which American president was Uncle Sam? That's the question.
All right, so here we go. The tallest ever US president is Abraham Lincoln at 193 centimeters tall, 6'4". Then Lyndon B. Johnson, 6'3.5", 192. Then Donald Trump, who is 6'3" or 191. So his plan, in my mind, he's 6'6" because of the shoes
Right.
and the
It's
hair.
working.
Yeah.
That's the craziest
It's got a lot of
part.
volume in that hair.
If I was the littlest president, I'd make that part of my campaign.
Oh, that sounds like an old school film. The
Elect
Littlest
me,
President.
the littlest
And it's a movie about a little dog who somehow becomes president. What do you say, President Woofs?
That sounds
He's got my
Right
vote.
away, sir.
That sounds like a film directed by the auteur Robert Vince.
Yeah, Robert Vince could make something like that.
The shortest president at 163 or 5'4", so Kim Jong-il would have been the shortest US president ever.
That rolls.
Which I imagine was his goal in life. The shortest ever is James Madison, 5'4".
Whoa. That's a little, but it's not as little as I want.
The fourth president.
Yeah, 5'4" is still...
It's admirable.
And heights change, you know. Ruckman in the AFL in the 70s were 6 foot.
Yeah.
Now they're like close to 7 foot.
Well, that makes you think that Abraham Lincoln must have been a very tall man.
So tall back then.
Gargantuan.
He would have been a big ruckman in his day. When was he around?
1850s or 1865 he finished his presidency.
Oh, right. So he was there at the
beginnings.
the beginning of Aussie rules football.
That's true.
He would have been huge.
He loved wrestling people, didn't he, Abe Lincoln?
Oh, yeah.
I think he loved picking people up and
WWE.
throwing them.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts about Abe Lincoln.
You think you've Andre the Giant.
That's right. Damn.
So Kim Jong-il he was a 5'2" short man, but one of the first things I bring this up because one of the first things he said to Chair, in her words, quoting him, was, this is one of the first things he said to her is, "Look at me, aren't I small like a midget's turd?"
What? Who's quoted him saying that?
Chair, when she first met him, his way, which was everyone in the room started laughing, including Chair, and it was Kim's way of breaking the ice.
Job done.
So she's
ice
terrified
broken.
for her life, but so taken aback by this comment from everyone knows in South Korea, especially knows who this guy is. Pretty fearful of him and his father. Yeah. And then he says, "Aren't I small like a midget's turd?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
What would your... I guess.
Yeah, I know.
I'd say not... No, not really.
I don't know if the turd would be
That's a big... Even an elephant. A human is a huge turd.
Yeah.
You're a massive turd, Kim Jong.
The size of the turd wouldn't
Jong-il.
change depending on the height of the human, Kim Jong.
Also, that is like the kind of question you're like, are you asking this to trip me up? Like, am I
Yeah.
supposed to say
Yeah.
yes and I get executed? Or I say no and I get executed? Like, what do I say to that?
If the crowd's laughing, you laugh.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you?
And then
Throw
if he
back.
stops laughing, if he stops smiling, then you stop laughing.
Yeah.
Well, Chair was afraid that this turd still might hurt her, but he was very kind and treated her with respect. He told her of his love of cinema, showing off that he had a projector room in every house he had so he could watch films at any time.
He took her to every house, one after the other. Yeah? I know, I'm telling you the truth. Every house got a projector room. Yeah, I believe you.
No, but
Well, let's go to the next one.
We've been to 15 houses, Kim.
We're going to fly up north, but you got to see it. It's the same as this.
You
but
got to see this projector.
once you see them all, you get a sense of the scope of it, really. You don't really understand.
how much I love cinema. I'm a cinephile.
Well, it's been claimed over the years that he had a collection of over 15,000 films, which in the late 70s
Yeah.
was crazy. The films weren't just propaganda films either. He also loved Hollywood movies, something that his subjects were forbidden from watching.
Ah,
So they're not allowed to watch it, but he's loving James Bond.
what a hypocrite.
Yeah. Rude.
He really loved Shirley Temple's film, The Midget's Turd. I think that's where he got that gag
I think
from.
that's very... watching that, he's like, I know what I'll say to her.
Do you reckon he's got staff writers, like a comedy writing team?
Maybe.
Writing
To
little
be-
zingers?
Writing zingers for Kim Jong-un. Sorry.
Apparently, because his father, I said, was that dynamic, very charismatic guy. Kim Jong-il was not like that at all. So his father would be a great public speaker. That was how often he whipped people up into a frenzy. Kim Jong-il hated public speaking. So his father used to have this tradition of doing Christmas Day, big speech on the radio. People listened to all that stuff. Kim Jong-il did not like that, so instead he just published articles in 3 newspapers. He published his Christmas message because he just hated public speaking. So I would not be surprised if he did have people writing
That's amazing.
zingers for him. But apparently his father, he's one of those people that walks into every room and
Yeah.
it's just like, you're like, whoa.
It obviously skips a generation because his grandson's got it as well.
Oh, he has got it.
He's got the it factor. Absolutely.
Kim also explained to Chair that North Korean cinema just didn't cut it in comparison to these foreign films. He ordered his staff to make sure Chair was shown a Soviet film from the 50s called the... what have I written here? The Firsty First. That is not wrong. That's not right. The 31st, I should say. Maybe. Is that what it is? Anyway, it's a Soviet film where a woman shoots her lover as he tries to escape, and in her eyes, defect. Che knew that was Kim's way of telling her that he'd kill her if she tried to betray him.
That's
what
clever.
an elaborate way of telling her.
I wouldn't have got that. I'd have been like, it's good. Kim.
Gray loved it. Loved that final scene. He's like, what did you think? Kim took Che to the opera to watch propaganda-filled performances. She was also made to read books on communism and North Korean ideology. She did as she was told, doing so to stay alive.
Oh.
He's trying to
Reading.
brainwash her, but she's just nodding.
This is a funny podcast where you forget you're talking about an awful thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. These were people. But also you're like reading a book to stay alive. You know? Yeah. My gosh.
It's, holy shit. But one thing, and I like to pull out these little bit glimmers of hope.
Yeah.
The fact that we know from
That's true.
her account what he called himself as a joke means she survived to tell the tale.
That's true. Or at least wrote it down at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And got it out on a
Kim
pigeon or
Jong
something.
told a great joke when I first arrived.
Actually,
Wow.
sounds more like propaganda. Although the fact that you're calling it a great joke, I'm not sure if I'm going that far.
Yeah, look, that's fair. Maybe it worked on me.
Comedy doesn't age well. That was great. Great material in the 70s.
I don't think you'd get away with it today, to be honest, Dave.
No. That's why I was very happy to stress that was Kim Jong-il's words because, to be honest, he's already not a very popular guy. I don't think I could get him cancelled even from here.
Well, I think Life did that anyway, didn't he?
Don't jump ahead. Yes.
Nah, he'll live forever.
Well, I think he's Supreme Leader for life, co-Supreme Leader for life with his dad. So that's Che. She's being brainwashed. Shin, her ex-husband, awoke from his drugging and he too found himself on a boat. He asked to see his wife Che, but they told him they did not know if she was dead or alive. He too was taken to North Korea, but instead of going to a villa, he was held in a detention center for 6 months, convinced he was about to die. They tried to brainwash him with party ideology and told him that the country's founder Kim Il-sung was a revolutionary hero. All the usual party propaganda stuff. And Shin went along with it knowing that if he challenged it, he'd probably be killed. Like his captor, Shin was also a film obsessive. He fantasized about escaping like the characters in The Great Escape. A film where the escape doesn't go so well.
That's true.
Still, Shin gave it a go. And one day, he grabbed a bike and rode away and then stowed away on the roof of a train. He didn't know where it was going. He just wanted it to take him away. Sadly, he discovered that the train was just going around and around in a circle. He stayed on the roof and fell asleep, but a conductor discovered his legs dangling over the side. He was caught, arrested and interrogated before being placed in solitary confinement at a place known as Camp Number 6, where political criminals were kept. He lived on a diet of grass, salt and rice.
Oh, well, geez, it got better as you went.
Yeah.
I was like,
with
God,
grass.
salt and rice. I'm actually, that's not so bad.
Yeah, that's
The grass.
Funny you started, I would assume it was going to get worse.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
absolutely.
rice.
Oh, rice.
Bit of
Okay.
salt on,
And
sprinkle on top.
flavored.
Yes.
Lucky.
And now the grass sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's just like a
Bit of
nice
colour.
accompaniment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Not so nice. He later said, he later said,
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good to hear.
just making Matt feel
That's a
better
good
about this.
sign.
And who is this guy?
This is Shin, the famous director that's gone to look for his ex-wife.
Right.
Also kidnapped, but he's actually been sent to a detention center.
I was daydreaming as you started this section,
Oh, right.
and that was the key moment. So I'm like, is this a new character?
Only 2 kidnapped
We
people in the
daydreaming
story.
about salt and rice? Is that
Yeah.
what's happening?
Yeah, go. Really go for some of
Oh,
that.
Salty rice, yes, please.
Buffalo. He later said, tasting bile all of the time, I experienced the limit of human beings. And this is quoting from Paul Fisher's book, A Kim Jong-il Production.
Oh.
Shin was crammed into a solitary cell barely big enough to lie down in, with one tiny slit of a window high up on the wall and thick steel bars across it. Bugs teemed through cracks in the floor.
Oh.
Except for a 30-minute lunch break and a 10-minute supper and a 30-minute sunning period during the day, he spent all day head bowed and motionless, absolutely rock still, or would suffer even greater punishment. So he couldn't even move all day long.
Oh my god. Damn.
Shin decided that in order to survive, he had to pretend to be a loyal party follower. He wrote letters proclaiming his love for the great leader Kim Il-sung and wrote that he would direct films for the country and even wrote down potential ideas and plots. He was trying to win the party's trust. He remained imprisoned in these conditions for over 4 years.
Wow. So why? So he was kidnapped.
Yep.
So they just to be punished?
No, we'll get to it.
Why are they punished? Like, why kidnap? It's just now
Well, if
you're
you
just
want him
taking
to
up a
make a
jail
film
cell.
eventually, why put him in the cell
Yeah.
for 4 years?
Well, it made him turn around. He realised immediately, my ticket out of here is if I offer my services.
Yeah, I reckon he sounds like he realised that, well before
Pretty
the 4. He
quickly.
probably would have, a month would have been heaps.
What does that do to the body as well? Having to stay still for that long and eating only like a diet of salt and rice
Can't be
and
good for your
grass.
posture.
He lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. Wow.
Meanwhile, rumours at home spread that Shin had been involved in his ex-wife's disappearance and perhaps that he'd willingly defected to North Korea.
Oh, how frustrating would that be?
And so apparently his kids were treated badly, like that your dad is a traitor and people didn't want to talk to him and stuff.
Your mum, though, she's great. Well, okay. Neither of those are my fault. So how about you just treat me normally?
Was it like a thing of people defecting to North Korea? It doesn't seem like a place you really would want to defect to.
No, not often. And they were known to kidnap people too.
Yeah,
So.
it seems crazy to be like they wanted to go.
I just don't get that. I mean, it is wild for me to be like, some of these wild, crazy dictators seem like they're not making sensible decisions.
So he is having an absolutely horrific time. Cher, his ex-wife, passed the time with her only real freedom and creative output, and that was through gardening. She built a veggie patch, so she's in much better conditions, but still no freedom. So it's
you're
not,
still in prison.
not great.
You'd choose it of the two.
Yes.
Yeah, you choose it. And
But
also,
if you had a third option, neither, I'd take that.
Yeah.
do you get grass?
Well, she's gardening.
Yes.
You can eat grass and rice and salt at home. So
I reckon I'm having that tonight. What kind of grass?
I don't know. I don't think it would taste terrible.
Could it be spinach?
Spinach isn't a grass.
Oh, it's a leaf.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Come on.
Come on, mate.
How thick can these blades be?
You gotta go outside, snip it with some scissors, put it in your
Oh,
rice.
so just like a cooch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is my favourite named of grass.
Oh, I love
That's
the
a thick
cooch.
grass, isn't it? The cooch.
I guess
I don't know. I'm not part of any grass forums. Don't you have friends, Matt, that are part of
I've
Facebook
got-
groups
I've got lots of
dedicated?
friends. So when your friends are in groups and they're posting on things, so you
Yeah.
see it,
Yeah.
even though you've got no connection to it. There's multiple friends in the Lawnspiration Facebook group.
Inspiration.
Oh, I couldn't believe it when you
And
told
it's
me.
just so they're posting photos, talking tips to each other.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real.
That's great. That's nice though.
Yeah, I think so. It's sort of. I think it's a funny thing, and some of these, it's just like them edging towards gardening,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Flowers are for girls. I'll do some
But grass.
grass. That's where you can play cricket and footy.
My God.
But like guys like us, we love
grass.
grass.
Fellas love grass.
Yeah, but my favorite is a plant that bears fruit.
Oh yeah. Look, I have to say, if I'm picking of the plants,
Yeah.
if it's popping a fruit off, I'm
Yeah.
a fan.
Hey. Like a little capsicum tree.
Yoo.
I don't know if you call a capsicum a fruit.
It's got seeds in it and,
Yeah.
and a flesh. I'd
If
call
it's-
it a fruit.
Whether or not technically it's a fruit in my mind and my heart.
Yeah, that's where it really counts.
Absolutely.
We're starting to slip into getting fruity with Matt and the boys' territory here, so drag us back to this grim tale you're telling us, Dave.
Well, I can talk about her veggie patch that Cher built next to her house, and she became almost like a farmer. She lived like this for years, missing her friends and family, none of which knew what had become of her. Also, worth pointing out, she doesn't know that her ex-husband's even looking for her. He doesn't know where she is, so they don't know
Are you
anything.
still saying he's looking for her when he's in solitary
on his
confinement for
mind,
4
probably.
years?
Well, they don't know that the only person that they know in all of North Korea is like their ex-partner. They don't know that the other one's even alive.
Right.
Which is just weird.
Yeah.
Then one day, she's also there for 4 years. One day, a car came to take her to Kim Jong-il's house. Kim told her that it was his birthday party and a family affair. At the party, Cher looked up to the other side of the room and saw someone she never thought she'd see again. Almost as if looking at a ghost, she was staring at her ex-husband, Shin. She went up to him and just kept asking, "What happened to you? What happened to you?" But Shin stayed silent and just smiled back. I'm imagining that at this time, Shin is a little traumatized.
Yes, yeah, oh, absolutely. And you don't want to say the wrong thing or like act excited and draw attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be...
God.
You wouldn't be the same.
And he
No.
also apparently looked like shit. He was very thin.
Maybe he was thinking, Che, that's a little rude.
What happened to you? All right.
Okay, well, it's quite a bit, and I don't know if really the time to tell you.
Have you been eating the grass here? And then, like a madman, Kim Jong-il introduced the couple to the rest of the room. He said, "This is Director Shin, our new film advisor, and this is Miss Che, the mother of Korea."
Wow.
Is that the first time she'd heard him refer to her like that?
Yeah. They were both like, what is he talking
would that
about?
mean? I would be so scared.
He's like, "I've just been locked up in one of your prisons for like over 4 years, and now I'm your director. I'm your film advisor." What?
And what does that mean for her? The mother?
Mother of Korea?
Yeah. What? They're going to make her bear children? Or just figuratively, is she some sort of a new mother figure?
New mother figure, I think.
I hope.
But I mean, it's hard.
You were in that moment, you would not know.
It's one of basically every time he made an announcement, I think everyone was just like, "Very good, yeah, great, just clapping, a lot of clapping." Che and Shin were happy to be reunited and shared stories of what had happened to them over the previous near 5 years. They were very relieved, and they both finally had someone that they could trust. Before this, there's no one you can trust there.
Yeah.
They spoke of their longing, this is very quietly, of course, to leave North Korea, and they decided that they should do so together. Shin said to Che that if they were to escape, the world would never believe their story without proof. So they bravely decided to record and document what was happening to them.
Whoa.
And this is extremely badass. Che snuck a small tape recorder into her purse, and before she went in to speak to Kim about what he wanted with the pair, she hit record.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Recording Kim or any part of party business was an offence that carried the death penalty.
Yeah.
So she was risking certain death if they found out she was recording it.
Wow.
But because she was such a badass, recordings exist of their conversation with Kim.
That's nuts. Oh my God.
Kim blamed misunderstandings by thoughtless officials for their unfriendly 4-year North Korean imprisonment and suffering.
Oh, it's a bit of a misunderstanding. We assume that's what you wanted.
Which he referred to as their, sorry about that, welcome. Sorry about that. He's like, I've been like nearly dead for 4.5 years. Sorry about that, welcome.
Yeah, I'm so sorry
Off to
about
a bit
that.
of a rocky start.
Can I just... that wouldn't have been my choice. Yeah. Whoops.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have someone's head over this. Honestly, I said really give him a beautiful welcome.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that does not happen.
Sounds like that's not... that didn't...
Was that not your
That's
experience?
not what you... 4 years. 4 years?
Yeah.
Wow, time flies, hey? I mean, wow.
It's good to have some time alone. Is that the way you're...
Is that how
No?
you're coming out of it?
Okay, your eyes are saying no.
Can I offer you some grass?
Yeah, eat any good grass, though, while you're in the...
Because I love grass.
I hear the grass is good. I don't know. I've never tried it, but... Anyway, you're here now.
Quoting from The Guardian here, Kim also apologised for taking so long to get back to them personally, saying it had been a busy time at the office. How insane is that? He's been in a political prison for over 4 years. Sorry about that. I got a bit busy.
Absolutely snowed under.
You should see my in tray.
Oh.
Damn.
He even took some responsibility, which is amazing for him, because he would never do that, by saying he told his staff that he wanted the couple to be brought to North Korea, but not why. Which the couple themselves were still confused, and so after 5 years, he finally explained his plan to them. Kim was unsatisfied with the films made in North Korea, bemoaning the fact that they all followed the same ideological plots. Bit of a weird thing to complain about in a
Dictatorship.
dictatorship
Sure, yeah,
that you're in
alright.
charge of.
Yeah, I force them to follow those plots, but I don't like that they
That's
do.
not good.
Yeah, I get a bit sick of them. I don't know.
He said to them, quote, "Their works have the same expressions, redundancies, the same old plots. All our movies are filled with crying and sobbing. This isn't a funeral. I didn't order them to portray that kind of thing." End quote. He complained that South Korea had very advanced technology and that his people were very close-minded in comparison. Funny that.
Yeah, I wonder why, dude.
He was also upset that none of the North Korean films made it to international film festivals and got any respect. He told them face to face, and this is on the recording, quote, "I asked my advisor, who's the best director in the South? He said that his name is Shin. How could we persuade him to come here? How could I lure the director Shin? It was only then that they realised that Cher had been kidnapped all those years earlier to act as bait for her husband, Shin."
Whoa.
And they just never... So they used her as bait and never followed through with it, or?
Yeah, well, that's what he said. They got busy at the office.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Stuff came up.
This is bizarre.
I've got so many weird plots on the go. I can't be...
Can't pay attention to all of
Oh,
them.
God, yeah, I can't be expected to come back within 5 years. That was my plan.
Yeah.
Yes, you nearly died and starved to death at the prison, but you didn't, and now let's make some movies.
You remember when you I don't know, you forget you left the stove on or you left a window open and you're like, oh, that's what he felt.
You wake up, Shin!
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. He just calls someone, is Shin still alive? And so his plan was he wanted the couple to make films for him, to let North Korea shine on the world stage.
Well, it's another little glimmer of hope because it hasn't. So, you know.
Before they started working together again, Kim also encouraged the couple to remarry, which they did.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So now they're husband and
I
wife
don't know,
again.
Kim. I don't know if I have the sparks there anymore.
He's like, I preferred it when you were a power couple. Can we get that happening again?
He would have been a nightmare with the wedding planner. Every little decision.
You don't want to stuff up the bouquet.
We were thinking pink flowers. No.
No, you weren't. No, I wasn't. You're right.
No, what was I thinking again?
Yeah, no. Pink's a sign of weakness
Yeah.
in the south. I mean, the north. Oh, no. Oh, God. I've said the wrong one. They also got... So then they're married. They got to work making films, with money being no object. Before that, in South Korea...
Money was an object?
Technology was better, but yeah, money was an object, and Shin was often scraping around to try and get people to back his film. So in a weird way, he can now make movies with no budget constraints.
Yeah.
He just can't leave.
It was a bit of a monkey paw
Yeah,
situation.
it's like, I know, exactly. I wish for unlimited money for movies. This really backfired.
This is not how I wanted that to happen.
Shin worked as director and his own camera operator, with Cher being his assistant director. They worked day and night to crank out films, and in just under 2.5 years, they made 17 movies.
Whoa.
Oh.
They were allowed to expand their subject matter from films that were obvious propaganda. So before this, nearly everything... Funny they weren't doing well at international film festivals. This was all about how great North Korea was. Before this, North Korean films were always on a similar theme of loyalty, dedication to hard work, and nearly always had the main character die for the party or die for the great leader. But Kim supported the couple to make the films that they wanted to make. So for the first time, they made films with real love stories. So before that, there were no love stories in these movies.
Oh.
Having said that, though, their first film was called Emissary of No Return and was based on Bloody Conference, a play allegedly written by the country's leader Kim Il-sung during his guerrilla years. He just wrote a play on the side. Shin asked Kim to let them make films that would appeal internationally and not just to North Koreans, and Kim was like, that's a great idea. I love it. The couple were allowed to travel to make the films, which was also very rare for anyone in North Korea, but they were only allowed to travel to Eastern Bloc countries that shared their country's communist ideologies.
Okay.
Basically the ones that are hardest to escape from.
Yeah, damn, that's a shame.
But because of this, photos of the two South Koreans were published in newspapers, and in the pictures they looked like they were having a good time, so people started to believe, see, they have defected to North Korea, they're having a good time.
They're loving it. Maybe it's good.
Yeah.
That's good propaganda.
Yeah, like there's one photo, they went to China to film along the Great Wall, and they're on a camel and they're smiling, and people were like,
They're happy.
sure they've disappeared for 5 years, but now they're having a great time. So...
It's hard not to smile on a camel.
Yeah, exactly. On the Great Wall.
You try.
Whoa, that thing's
my
beautiful.
Shin and Cher experimented with musicals, including a film called Love, Love, My Love,
Oh, yes.
What a title.
based on
So they went from no love stories
to
love, love, my love.
too much love. Kim's like, I love it. Another film, Runaway, featured North Korean covers of ABBA songs.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So yeah, they are honestly changing the culture of the country.
Yeah.
Because before that, none of that was happening.
Were the people loving it?
Yeah, well, yeah. That was.
Yeah, no, they were going well. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it would. If all of the movies you'd watched up to that point had been
One
like,
story.
North Korea's great, I've been shot by our enemies, and then they're
And
like,
I'm glad.
ABBA? You're like, oh,
Yeah. Whoa, music. People smiling. This is great.
Dancing Queen? Only 17?
What?
Oh my god.
The next film called Salt.
Oh, yeah. On rice.
All right. What are dictators' obsession with salt?
I don't know. It's a sad on its own. I get it. It's got the energy of a dictatorship when it's by itself that pepper doesn't share.
The film pushed the boundaries as the film opens with a quote from the Bible.
Oh.
For the first time in history of the North Korean cinema, where only quotations from Kim Il-sung were typical before.
Right.
They've got a quote from the Bible.
They're pushing the envelope.
And what a quote. This is it. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again?
The Bible is a good book.
No.
It is a very good
A
book.
lesson for every
I've been
situation.
thinking about that question all weekend.
It's a lot in that.
If the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again?
You sure, Kim Jong?
didn't that's what my
Yeah,
head
that's
didn't write
not
that.
Kimmel.
Also?
I mean, I say there's a quote from the Bible. There was a possibility that he claimed that he wrote the Bible. I don't know. The film received good reviews and internationally, which was amazing. And Cher's performance in particular was praised for its realism. She was awarded the Best Actress prize at the 14th Moscow Film Festival in 1985.
Kim would have been happy about that.
Yeah,
He was stoked.
Yeah.
And as it was a communist country, the couple were allowed to go to Moscow to attend the festival. And the film received a standing ovation. Kim was stoked.
Yes. That's good.
And when out and about in Moscow, the couple felt comparatively free. Cher suggested making a run for an embassy and trying to gain political asylum, but Shin urged her to be patient.
We're on a hot streak
Yeah,
here.
we're making some good films here,
Yeah,
Jeff.
this is
Won an
great.
award.
Baby, come on. There's a recording of Kim telling Shin, so they kept recording him, which is absolutely crazy.
I mean, just
Wow.
at any point the tape fucks up or makes a weird
yeah.
sound.
Ooh.
squeaks.
They just have to be like,
What was that?
"Ooh,
Oh, my-
That's how I
My
talk
tummy,
now.
sorry, my tummy's being funny.
ooh."
Oh, yes, sorry, eating something odd here.
Yeah.
Little too much grass.
Oh my god. So there's a recording of Kim telling Shin that when they talk to people at these events from now on, they must say that, quote, there is no freedom in South Korea, no freedom or democracy, and that they interfere with his creativity there, and that the reason he came to North Korea was to find true creative freedom. He's like, just say that when you're interviewed.
Yeah, just pull it out. Make it sound natural.
Put it in your own words, but
That's what you want to get across.
Don't say the reason he came here, say the reason I came here. That sounds weird. Shin obliged and told a newspaper in Belgrade that North Korea had given him a blank canvas in order to make art with complete creative freedom. So on the surface, they were loving their time in North Korea, and more people were like, see,
What did I say?
they're traitors. They're traitors. To ensure that this charade was kept, everywhere they travelled, they were accompanied by about 20 guards, watching their every move and listening in on what they said. When they attended the Berlin Film Festival, Shin and Cher really proved themselves to their leader Kim when they ran into some old South Korean colleagues and gave them the cold shoulder and talked about how well they were doing in North Korea and how the film industry in there was way better.
So is kind of part of Kim Jong-il's plan, like, make it seem like it's great so I get more directors over here and I can make like a more interesting film?
Yeah, he wanted like a whole film industry, yeah.
Yeah. Man, you would... It would have been interesting to see, if it had worked.
If they've been like the second Hollywood over there.
Yeah.
So they've been seen by the security to brush off their South Korean colleagues, and this was reported back to Kim Jong-il, where they told him that Shin and Cher were forcefully loyal to his father Kim Il-sung's kingdom. With the two leaders' confidence and trust gained, they were given further artistic and social freedom. So their plan was working to make the party love them and trust them.
It's interesting that they continue to record, because I feel like I'd be like, we're so close to getting... The closer you got to having enough freedom to escape, the more dangerous recording sort of almost
Yeah, you don't want
becomes.
to keep the risk up.
Yeah.
and this big sack of tapes you've got in your room. You'd be paranoid every time the cleaner's in there.
So many you can swallow. Probably the most famous film they made in North Korea is the 1985 dark fantasy action monster film Pulgasari. Pulgasari. Shin asked Kim to let them make a film that would really appeal internationally and not just to Koreans, and Kim super on board. What do you want to do? The film was a shameless rip-off of Godzilla. According to the Daily Telegraph, Pulgasari was a minotaur-like behemoth with huge horns and oddly expressive eyes.
What?
The design was based on the Pulgasari, a creature creature. I've really read that as it looks. A creature from Korean legend with the body of a bear, nose of an elephant, eye of a rhino, and leg of a tiger.
Where's the bull in that? Where's the minotaur in that?
And
If you combine them, it looks like a minotaur.
is it like a one-eyed rhino and a one-legged tiger hopping along?
Yeah, that's scary.
Begging to be put down.
It's sewn together from all the parts. Some are still alive. Please,
Please.
please.
This really hurts. The film version is created by a dying blacksmith imprisoned by a cruel king during a medieval Korean dynasty. Pulgasari is carved by the old man as he waits to die in a cell. When his daughter bleeds on the miniature monster, it comes to life and begins gorging on metal.
Whoa.
Okay.
Cool.
And the more it eats, the faster it grows. Soon it's as tall as a person. And then as big as a mountain.
That's quick.
When the peasants rebel against their wicked ruler, Pulgasari is there with them, doing its bit to tear down the corrupt ancient regime.
That's very like clearly that's got some shades of what's happening. Like is Kim? Did he notice?
Well, that's what everyone said. They were like, Shin? Shin claimed the film wasn't meant to be seen as a metaphor about overthrowing a corrupt and repressive regime. I don't know where you've got that.
Where'd you get that idea? That's crazy.
Many have interpreted it that way, and he since said it was a pure monster film. I didn't put any ideology in it.
He's getting cocky.
You're out now, Shin. You don't have to lie.
I know. Shin, come on. It was definitely a Godzilla ripoff. They even got the Japanese studio that made the special effects for Godzilla, including the man in the Godzilla suit, to fly out to North Korea to make the film.
Oh, wow. Did he get to leave?
Well, as with Shin, the Japanese had not come to North Korea voluntarily. They'd boarded a plane in Tokyo, understanding that they'd be shooting a movie in China. Instead, they landed in Pyongyang, the North Korean capital.
That would be a shame. Jeez. And you'd be so confused when you were still expected to get in the monster costume.
Yeah.
What?
Because you'd be like, oh, I've just been kidnapped. And then they're like, no, you're still a monster.
Oh, no. Oh, we'll still pay you.
You're still here to be in a monster film. What?
Apparently, most of the crew were too afraid to talk to them because they were worried that they'd be punished for talking to non-Korean people. So they had a very bizarre experience.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then they did get flown home?
Yeah, they got to go home afterwards, yeah.
What?
They did their job. It's almost funny to think that an insane dictator had kidnapped two people to make a B movie about a metal-eating monster.
Yeah.
But whilst his people starved, Kim spared no expense on the film, spending an estimated $3 million in the 80s. One of the scenes features 10,000 extras.
Whoa.
So the production value was pretty high.
Yeah.
You can watch the entire film on YouTube and judge it for yourself, which I will link in the description if you're interested to check it out.
That's exciting.
I couldn't sit through too much of it, I'll be honest. But the film was a big hit in North Korea, and Kim hailed it as a masterpiece.
Wow.
This is where Matt nearly
God.
That's how good it was. Matt nearly fell off his chair.
So how did it go on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, what's the
What's the Sportometer say?
Did you say Kim hailed it as a masterpiece? Of course he's going to.
Yeah. But he was like...
They like it. They like it. Masterpiece.
Masterpiece. We've done it again.
But he's a cinephile, so he'd have
He
opinions.
knows. That's true. That's true.
I'm wondering what's on Rotten Tomatoes.
Surely somebody's given it a review, or it's on...
Audience score on Pulgasari is 23%.
23%. So there's a lot.
Great.
There's a lot worse though.
But the tomatometer is not available.
What's it called again? How do I spell it? I'm checking it out on a letterboxd.
Pulgasari. So Pulgasari.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pulgasari, sometimes known as Pulgasari with a B.
I don't think it's on Letterboxd. That's so sad.
It's on IMDb. It's had nearly 1,000 votes and it's 5.2 out of 10.
But the fact that it's not on Letterboxd means that if you out there review it for Letterboxd, you'll be the only review. That's pretty exciting.
Straight to the top.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can watch it for free on YouTube.
So you can make a genuine. There you go.
While we've just been chatting there, I've also looked up kaiju. Apparently that means strange beasts, and it's a Japanese genre of films featuring giant monsters.
Oh well, there you go.
Well, Pulgasari is definitely that.
The 1954 film Godzilla is commonly regarded as the first kaiju film.
Is King Kong a kaiju?
Well, yeah, because they did do...
He's fought Godzilla.
Yeah, there was a Japanese version of...
Is it a myth or true that there's like Godzilla vs. King Kong and that in Japan Godzilla wins and in America King Kong wins?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I feel like I've read that somewhere, but that
I like
also
that.
sounds like it could be fake.
A new American version's coming out later this year.
I
or
hope they
due
do the
to.
same thing.
Yeah.
King Kong shouldn't win. He's tiny.
Yeah, how does it work? Don't they normally... He just grows.
I guess.
I think they make him about as big as each other.
He's got an ape's brain.
Have you seen Skull Island? It was pretty big.
Yeah, that's true. But Godzilla.
Are you getting confused with Mighty Joe Young? That's a kind of big ape.
That's like a mildly big ape, but not one beyond like what could feasibly normally happen.
Kong Skull Island, it was like mountain size big.
That was
It's
a
got a lot
huge
bigger.
ape.
Yeah, big ape.
Yeah.
Now that's a big ape.
Yeah, oh yeah. Is that a line in the movie?
Now that's a big ape. It starts with him squashing Mighty Joe Young underfoot.
Now that's a big ape.
The kid goes, "Whoa, that's a pretty big ape." But he's pointing at Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah, he
Gets
gets
squished,
well, okay.
zoom out. Now that's a big ape. And scene.
That's a great scene.
I think that's going to be a big hit.
Yeah.
I want to make a film. I reckon I can make a great film.
Man, all you got to do is kidnap two more talented people than you, and you can have it.
absolutely.
Two more talented people than me? All right.
It'll be hard, but I wish you
I'll
luck.
put the feelers out.
Yeah.
So during this time, so the film is a big hit in North Korea and for Kim. During this time, the US State Department was contacted by a woman who claimed to know both Choi and Shin. Her father had met Shin at a film festival, and Shin wanted him to pass on that they were being held against their will and that they wished to escape to the USA. They also sent in tapes of recordings of Shin talking to Kim Jong-il to back up the story.
Whoa.
And the US were amazed because at that time, no one outside of Korea had ever heard Kim Jong-il speak.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
That's how reclusive he was, and he didn't do the big speeches.
So that also shows that it's not proving
it
anything.
could be anyone.
Yeah, that's true.
So they've got basically these tapes were smuggled out and sent to the State Department, and they were like, "Oh, okay." Choi and Shin were allowed to travel to Vienna to discuss their next film with someone who wanted to co-produce films with the pair. Of course, their entourage of guards and minders went along as well. But one night, on March 13th, 1986, while staying at the Intercontinental Hotel, when the guards were smoking and playing poker in the room opposite, more than 8 years after their abduction, Choi and Shin decided to finally make a break for it.
I mean, 8 years, and they're obviously, the guards would be real tight on them early. 8 years, and they clearly seem to be...
Yeah, they're in on it. They love it. They're here for life.
So you'd start to let your guard down.
Relax. You'd have a
Jeez, but you wouldn't want to be one of those guards.
Oh,
relaxed.
yeah.
If you go home without him, don't bother coming home.
Yeah.
Can we come with you guys?
So this was it. If they got caught, they knew they'd be killed. With that thought at the front of their minds, the couple packed their bags, which I think is insane.
Yeah, why?
Leave the fucking suitcase.
Yeah, absolutely.
Silently tiptoed down the hallway, took a lift down to the lobby, and hailed a taxi.
Yeah, without your bags, you could be like, "Oh, we're just going out for fresh air."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it looks
What's
sus,
in your
doesn't it?
bags that's so important when you came here with nothing?
Go down in your pajamas, really sell it. Oh, sleepwalking.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh, at the airport? What? They drove away from the hotel but seemed to be followed by a white taxi.
Oh, no.
Shin and Choi held hands and hoped for the best.
Where are they? They're in Vienna.
Yep.
So, and is Vienna? Where Vienna's in
Austria. So it's alright. Like it's not
like a Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, so it's like a pretty diplomatic country.
Yeah. I'm forgetting this is in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm like, Austria, what is Hitler about?
Luckily, their car, so they think they're being followed. Luckily, their car made it through a red light, and the car following them didn't.
Well, I don't... all of a sudden, I'm not sure that they're really...
Maybe they weren't
this car full of badasses. Oh, well, we'll die if we don't get them back, but...
I don't want to run a red. I mean, that's dangerous.
They instructed their driver to make a sharp turn and head to the US Embassy. They made it to the embassy and ran inside, declaring that they were South Korean nationals who'd been abducted by the North Korean regime. Oh. It's safe to say that the embassy workers didn't experience this every day. I saw a guy talk about it in an interview. He was even talking about how, I mean, like, we'd even have, like, you know, Soviet soldiers come over sometimes and try and get asylum. But never anyone filmmakers kidnapped by North Korea.
Wow.
So, Choi and Shin were given asylum by the USA, who were at first somewhat dubious of their claims. To be honest, it is a crazy story.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But the fact that they'd been so close to the ultra-reclusive Kim for so many years meant that they had a trove of valuable info on North Korea.
Oh, he would have felt so betrayed.
I know, he would have been... Do you reckon he cried?
He would have been hurt, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think he would have, yeah.
They held a press conference with law officials, and Shin addressed the rumours that he'd defected to North Korea. There were still people saying, you went voluntarily.
You loved it over there, dude. I saw you on that camel.
Yeah, you were loving that camel sick.
Big smile.
Shin said, perhaps some of you living in freedom will not appreciate this, but we are fearful to the core. He was like, I don't care what you think. I was really scared.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was face to the floor for what?
4 years.
4 years.
For like 22 hours a day.
Yeah.
Half an hour of sun.
Half an hour of sun. And
bugs are coming out through the floor. That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be pretty offended if someone said, you had a good time there. North Korea came out, of course, and said that Shin was a liar and that he'd willingly defected to make the films and that he'd run away with embezzled money from the government. That was their official line.
That's why they had the suitcase.
That makes sense.
Full of cash.
I feel like that wouldn't be the claim I would go with. I don't know what I'd go with, but I feel like that's a bit elaborate on their part, you know?
They broke our hearts. They came here, they stole our hearts with their beautiful films.
Oh my God.
And then they ran away.
And now I've got Waterloo in my head. Can't get it out.
What do we ever do to deserve this? Oh, I'll put you in solitary confinement for 4 years. That was your welcome.
I mean, come on, that was an administrative error and I apologise for that.
I was snowed under. There was a lot on.
I had a lot on. I'm second in charge of this big country. Choi and Shin lived under a police guard for 2 years, worried that North Korean agents would take them out.
They went back to South Korea?
No, they lived in the US and they settled in LA and tried to kickstart their film careers, sadly with limited success.
Going back to making movies.
Yeah.
Wow, I probably wouldn't.
They've made so many as well.
Yeah.
And they weren't that young anymore. They're sort of in their 60s.
It feels like they should have been working on making a movie of their life.
Yeah.
What a story. This is a film.
Yeah. Oh, this is I'm shocked that... I mean, maybe it hasn't. I just don't know about it.
There's a great doco, which I'll link to in the description and point out at the end because it was really, really good. But as far as I know, there's no film adaptation.
That should be...
Yeah, absolutely.
That's such a great idea for a film.
Such a story.
Yeah. It's got everything.
So limited success, although I will say Shin did produce 3 Ninjas, the martial arts comedy films. Do you know those?
Yeah, 3 Ninjas.
He produced those.
And he directed one of the sequels.
Huh.
Whoa.
So I actually wasn't that familiar with them, but yeah, they look like there was 3 or 4 in the series.
I kind of only remember the first one. I think.
I'm remembering it by name.
In fact, to be honest, I may just remember the DVD cover.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen them, but I definitely know the name.
Sort of early 90s.
Is it lighthearted? In my head, it's lighthearted, but actually,
3 young brothers who were trained by their Japanese grandfather in the art of ninjutsu. Victor Wong is the only cast member to appear in all 4 films. Didn't need to read that last bit.
Hey, it's good to know.
Apparently, martial
3
arts
ninjas,
comedy,
Kickback, Knuckle Up, and High Noon at Mega Mountain.
I hope he directed that one.
High Noon at Mega Mountain.
That sounds fun.
That sounds like the best one of the 4.
Yeah.
The 3. Sorry. Yeah, wow. Going back to making movies. Damn.
Yeah.
But if you're making lighthearted ninja comedies, I get that. You know.
I mean, I think it was just their passion.
Yeah.
The couple eventually did return to South Korea after making sure they wouldn't be punished for defecting. So they made sure, I'm not going to get arrested. Many apparently still doubt their story.
Wow.
To this day.
Despite the tapes.
Is that like part of some kind of South Korean propaganda where they're like I don't even know. It just seems so hard to comprehend the idea of imagining someone would intentionally go to North Korea. And that even when they came back and they were like, this is horrible, that you would be like, no, you still loved it.
Well, because if you look at it, he went through horrific stuff, but maybe they don't think he did that. Because I think the claim is, if you don't believe it, is that he went over to make these films because no one else would give him any money and he wanted to make these movies. And then maybe he decided he wanted to leave and then he did escape. Wow. Because the couple actually remained married until Shin's death in 2006. So amazingly, this whole ordeal had got them back together as a couple and in many ways had kickstarted their careers because they made some very highly funded movies. And that's why some people feel suspicious about it.
Three ninjas.
Three ninjas, as we recall.
I just think that they were making the best of what happened.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As for Choi Eun-hee, she died in 2018 at the age of 91.
Oh, wow.
Having outlived her former captor, Kim Jong-il, by almost 7 years.
Got him.
Got the last laugh.
Yeah. That is the end of the story, but I do want to say I really enjoyed a fantastic doco made on this story in 2016 called The Lovers and the Despot, which is available on the UK Netflix, thanks to ExpressVPN for letting me do that. It tells the story and intercut scenes from Shin's movies that actually work really well.
Oh, that's
cool. He made so many different movies. There's like almost a scene for everything. I'll link all of my sources in the description of the episode, and there was also a fantastic article in The Guardian from John Gorenfeld, published in 2003. But yeah, that's the story. Isn't that just crazy?
It's a wild story.
That's nuts.
And it's sort of, I mean, the way they got through it in the end, it was awful. A lot of bad stuff happened. You know, no one ever thinks about the goons who obviously went back to get killed.
Yeah.
You didn't mention that. Those large men.
Oh, no, in their big wigs.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Oh.
Large men, long wigs.
Crying in a wig, that's not good.
They should, unless they trimmed their wigs.
Oh, that's clever.
It wasn't me. It was the guy that looked like John Bonham.
It's crazy that they got back together in the end. But it also, of course, you're not going to ever be able to find somebody else who knows what you know what I mean? Like, who went through exactly the same thing you did. So I guess, of course, you're going to stay together. But that's what a crazy love story.
So it is a love story.
Yeah, it is a love story. That's nuts.
It's a real make or break type scenario.
Exactly.
It's like a couple going on a holiday for the first time.
Yeah. How's this going to go?
My God. Are there... Like, the films... This is what I was thinking when you were talking about, like, he gets to make whatever film he wanted. Were the films he made there films he wanted to make? Like, or like, was it like Kim Jong-il was like, this, make whatever film you want, but it'd be cool if this was in the movie, or it'd be cool if the movie included some of this.
I reckon that he pushed the boundaries further than they'd been pushed before, but I still think there were boundaries.
Yeah,
for sure. Like, and people making final, signing it off type thing. And the fact that the first movie was written by Kim Jong-il's dad, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, well. So he got to make movies with more money than he'd made for a long time, but...
The amount of creative freedom.
Yeah.
But he also wrote a movie that was a metaphor for pulling down the North Korean Empire.
Hey, man, that was just a coincidence.
Just pure happenstance. Do you reckon he wrote it and he was like, maybe this will inspire some people. Maybe they'll tear down the government. I can get out that way. That's lofty.
Yeah.
It's a lofty goal.
He's a long game guy.
Planting lots of different seeds. See which one grows first.
Yeah. You would also just like after the 4 years in confinement and then all of a sudden becoming the like minister of film or whatever, you would just never know what was going to happen next. You would just always be like, even if years had passed and all you were doing was making movies for North Korea, you'd be like, at any second, they could ship me here, put me here, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, people all the time, you hear about, stories come out of North Korea and you can never 100% know what's really happening inside the country, but people that are like, 3 years ago, they were like the second in charge and now they're being, taken out back and shot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God.
That quick, oh my God.
It's like... really like old school kings and queens type stuff.
Yeah,
where people get too much
absolutely.
power and then it's out the back.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Henry VIII sort of
Yeah, that's sort
whopping
of
heads.
people with too much power.
Yeah, incredible.
And I imagine now we've made this podcast, we can never go to North Korea. Sorry about that.
Damn.
Sorry.
Oh, that's why Jess isn't here.
Her name's not associated with this filth, with these lies.
It would be interesting to go there, obviously.
You can do it, right? You can do it as like a
A guided tour.
Yeah.
I would say we probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I would avoid it, I think. Like, I don't think they want me, but I think that if they did want me, they could get me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, North Korea isn't clamoring for Jackson, but if they set their minds to it, I'd be out of here. I'd be gone.
Well, you've got your alter ego to wriggle your way out.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Jackson
after-
R.L. Bailey, not Jackson B. Bailey. I've never heard of this man. And they'll be like, just another administrative error.
Easy
All right, get out of
mistake
here.
to make.
Go on, you scamp. Back to South Korea. Wow.
I think this brings us to everyone's favourite section of the show, the Fat Quote or Question section. And Jackson, you being the Jess role today, you'll do the jingle for Fat Quote or Question.
Fat quota question.
That's pretty close.
That is so close.
It is so close.
Well, I knew it, of course.
If I
But
said it's based on the Widget the World Watcher theme, would that help you? All right,
that would, in
great.
fact, make me more confused.
I'm convinced that that's a show that never existed.
It
Little
doesn't
purple
sound
alien?
real.
Shapeshifter?
No.
Like real, like super infotainment-y kids stuff.
You sound
There's always a
like-
big lesson in it.
You sound like Kim Jong-il describing his next movie. This is what I want you to make. Little purple alien? You cool with that? Like sort of, Widget the World
Sort of
Watcher?
shapeshifts,
Make it educational, but fun. They're like, oh my God. All right.
Okay, I'll try.
So yeah, you nailed that. That's the jingle.
so good to hear.
So the way people can get involved in this is if they go to patreon.com/2goonpod and they support us on the Sydney Scheinberg Deluxe Memorial Rest in Peace edition level. And if you do that, you get to give us a fact, a quote, a question. You also get to give us give yourself a title. And on that level, you get all sorts of stuff. You get to vote in 2 out of the 3 topic votes or topic polls. You get the 3 bonus episodes per month. You get those on another level. I forgot all the levels are called. But, we do 3 bonus episodes now, Jackson.
That rolls.
One's a bonus mini report, which is usually about
Just
a
a full
normal length report.
Just minus the fact quote question, which sadly is everyone's favourite part of the show.
Yeah.
So you don't get that. But you get the full report, the boring bit.
We do another one, which is a bit of a mixed bag one. This month we did a catch-up, like a catch-up on all past reports, or a bunch of different past reports, to see if any stories had evolved.
Yeah, because in
further.
4.5 years, a lot of stuff had actually continued on.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then the third one we're now doing monthly is Phrasing the Bar, where we celebrate the films of Brendan the Fraser. It's a spin-off podcast from
Brendan
Primates.
the Fraser. Do you know you called him Brendan the Fraser?
I did not know.
We celebrate the films of Brendan the Fraser. And,
so that was a spin-off of Primates, much like Getting Fruity with Matt and the Boys was.
for sure.
It's I'd call Primates in that way the mother of Korea.
I was thinking the same thing, yeah.
What am I talking about again? But anyway, this reward you get for the Sydney Scheinberg Deluxe Memorial Edition is to get to give us a fact, quote, or question. This week, because I don't have my computer, Dave's actually going to be reading them out.
Fantastic. So we're going to go through a few of these, and thanks to these absolute legends for supporting the show. And first of all,
Dave, can I ask you, are you doing it like I do, without you don't read them until you read them?
I'm not going to read them until I read them.
Thank you.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, because knowing Dave, he's very studious.
He may
I
read
half
them.
expected him to do some homework, looked up pronunciations and such.
I've actually rewritten some of these quotes because I didn't like them. The question, that was shithouse. Shithouse phrasing there, mate. I'll rewrite that. No, going straight from the word on the page from Kate Burton.
Oh, Kate Burton.
Kate Burton, who's given herself the title of Head of Banana Bread Connoisseurship.
Oh,
That's a lofty title.
Yeah.
Wow.
And an important member of our team.
I love banana bread.
It is great. With
It
butter,
makes me feel like it's healthier than a cake. But it really is just a cake, right?
Be. Yeah, absolutely not.
Just a cake,
Because
surely.
it's the naming, right? You call that banana cake, which is what it should be called.
Yeah. All of a sudden I think, this is
Yeah, I'll
Is it
spit it
true?
out.
Yeah. Banana bread, though.
Oh, bread's healthy.
The
It's
more I
rustic.
eat it, and banana,
Yeah, exactly.
which is a fruit. We should do an episode of getting fruity about banana bread.
Yeah, we should.
Good
it's
idea.
basically a fruit.
Yeah.
I'd listen to that. Kate Burton, head of banana bread connoisseurship. I've never even connoisseurship.
Connoisseurship?
Yeah, there it is. Sorry, everyone.
That's
I don't
okay.
read this until I read this. I actually did, but I've mispronounced that to make it seem like I haven't read this before.
Very clever.
Kate has given us a quote, and that quote is, "If you want to throw a TV out of a hotel room window, then do it just before you leave the hotel, because there might be something you want to watch." Well, that is a quote from Craig Nichols, who I believe is the guy from The Vines.
Ah.
It's a good quote.
The front man of the Vines? Craig
Yeah.
Nichols. It's a good quote.
It's accurate.
That's great. And he seems like someone that would trash a hotel room. So for people that
He
might
wants
not
to
know,
get free.
he was a the singer of a fantastic, very rock and roll
Yeah, that's who that is.
Aussie band from the early to mid 2000s, The Vines, who did have a bit of crossover in America, I believe. They're
Yeah,
on
they were in that
Tonight
group
shows
of
and stuff.
You know, it felt like they were coming up with the Strokes and all those sort of. They were in
so
that kind of
post-punk,
scene.
post-rock,
Mm.
post-rock. Is that what they are? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, but they formed in '94. Didn't realize that.
I think do they all meet each other working at KFC?
Oh, that's good.
Oh.
Very rock and roll story.
Yeah.
I wanna get free. I wanna get free. I wanna get free. Right into the sun. I haven't thought of that song in so long.
You did a great job. Can I just say?
Jackson B. Baly. Jackson B. Still my beating heart.
My word.
Thanks to Kate. I'd like to now also shout out to Nick Fidian. Nick Fidian, who is given himself the title, or themselves the title of Chief Officer in charge of manifesting democracy.
Oh.
Relevant.
Oh,
He said what?
yes, that is very much relevant to tonight's episode.
He touched my penis.
I'm under what? But you assured me that I could speak. No one assured you of anything. I love that. Do you know the Democracy Manifest guy?
Yeah.
Love him. We love him here. And Nick Fidian's given us a fact. Here's the song. Or the fact. I've read the word song. In the time it takes to play the song I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles by the Proclaimers, the International Space Station will have travelled 500 miles and then 500 more.
Whoa.
Whoa!
That's cool.
Da-da-da-da. Get it up, yeah. It's like, as the wags say it, as pub cover bands play it.
So they say, just get it up, yeah.
Get up, yeah.
That's great.
That's fantastic. Did
That's
they
a
know
great-
in the ISS? Do they know they're doing that?
Yes, they're like, slow down. I'd like to thank also Drew Forsberg. Drew
Oh my gosh.
Forsberg, who
Drew.
is our understudy to the resident 3-in-1 expert. What does that mean?
Means what you want
Matt's
to mean.
little laugh. It seemed to imply a new.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I
Explain
was
that
like,
to me.
and we'll throw it
It
to
was-
you.
That was like a well played. Oh, well played.
I was thinking of something I said earlier.
Understudy to the resident 3-in-1 expert, Drew Forsberg, has given us a quote, and that quote is, "I was saying Boo Earns," from Hans Moorman in the Simpsons episode A Star Is Burns.
It's a great quote.
That's very good.
I was saying Boo Earns.
Oh, I love it.
He's one of the great
Truly.
minor characters.
He dies so often. That's fabulous.
Ow, my groin. God, that is such a funny episode.
Wasn't there a thing recently on Twitter? They were like, here are some of the animatics for, there's the 22 short films about Springfield or whatever it's called. They were like, here's some animatics for some of the short films that didn't make it in. And
Oh, yeah.
I think one of them was a Hans Moleman adventure of some variety. I forget what though.
That's fun.
Yeah.
He also was it him that dated one of the Bouvier sisters? Or no, sorry, Miss Krabappel. No, I'm thinking of who's the other great old character?
Old Gil?
No,
Grandpa
the
Simpson.
beard with the beard, the paddling
The
guy.
sea captain. Oh,
No.
I know you. Yeah.
And
Oh,
she
Jasper.
goes, "Oh, you look, Jasper, you look different from your photo." It's like a photo from the 1920s.
He
Or
looks like
something.
he's in like the Great Depression.
That's a good bit.
That is.
We haven't done all. We often just reminisce about funny Simpsons
Oh,
bits. We
there's
haven't
so
done a lot of
many.
that here today. There's a lot of great
That's
moments in that
It's
show.
interesting to take, I think.
Great show.
I've got a friend who just finished watching from the beginning to the end
Oh,
of the entire run of The Simpsons. He just
Didn't-
finished
How long
season
did that take?
31. All of his lockdown type. That's all he did.
I would say that I've now seen by far a minority of the overall.
Oh, me too.
At one point, I'd seen every episode, but now I would have seen a third.
I-
It
of
really
them,
gets
so-
away from you.
When it Disney Plus came out and it was all there, I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and I watched didn't want to watch season 1, but I went from like season 2, hit season 13, and was like, it got bad. Just stopped.
Yeah,
I
right.
couldn't. And then when the trailer for the latest season came out, because I knew my friend was watching it, I like tried to sit through the trailer and.
Couldn't even do the trailer.
Damn, it's really upsetting.
What a
Marge
shame.
sounds sick. I think her voice actor's just so old. She's got it's bad. I recommend trying. See how long you can sit through the trailer for season 31.
It's like in a minute long, and you can't get.
It's bad.
You're like vomiting out of disgust. Oh God, Marge sounds ill. All right, should we do one more fact quote question?
How many have we done?
We've done 3.
What are the? Oh yeah, we've done 2 facts and a quote.
How about a question?
That sounds good.
Love a question. I really want to get inside Jackson's mind.
All
All
right.
right, well, our question for you and me comes from Adam Pomeroy.
Cool. Last name.
Title: Sir Inverse Russell Crowe Esquire.
Oh, look out.
Okay,
Fantastic. And these 4 names we've gone with today have all been immaculate.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right, the question from our Esquire is, my question to you is, reading in Adam's words here, if you have any, what are some of your favourite comedians and or comedy shows that you have seen?
I love the idea. If you have any. No, not for me, comedy.
Yeah, I've never really laughed at much. Yeah.
We've just mentioned The Simpsons. It's got to be one of them.
Simpsons is pretty
Oh, I
funny.
love The Simpsons.
The golden age of The Simpsons.
Yeah. I don't know. What do
Seinfeld, long term.
Oh, yes. Love Seinfeld. Seinfeld never fails to be funny.
Yeah.
You know? You can watch any episode, you have a good laugh. That's what's wonderful about Seinfeld. The
Yep.
Summer of George. Come on.
Oh, it's such a great show.
What have I been watching lately? I'm still just watching X-Files.
Oh,
that's
There's comedy moments in it,
Yeah,
That's
for
great.
sure.
Great comedy moments.
but I wouldn't go as far to call it a comedy.
Yo, I don't think I've been watching anything terribly funny lately. I'm trying to
I mean,
think if
how about
any-
any comedians, all-time faves?
Yes, Anthony Morgan. It's one of my times Australian legend. Of course, Tony Martin,
Yeah.
Australian legend.
Another
Another
legend.
Aussie legend is our good friend, but honestly, the funniest comedian from Australia, I believe, is Laura Davis.
Laura Davis, so funny.
Love her shows.
Rory Scovel. It's one of my favourite specials of recent years.
Yeah, we watched that on our. Was that the first or the second time
First,
we
we
went?
were in Edinburgh.
We went to the UK and Matt put on this special and Rory Scovel, an American guy. My God, it was which special was it though? Do you reckon?
It was called.
He's in a jacket.
Yeah, it was called Rory Scovel Tries Comedy for the First Time.
That's right.
It's a good title.
That's a great title. We love James Acaster.
Yeah.
Yes, we watch a lot of his
Very
stuff.
funny.
His repertoire stuff on Netflix is fantastic, and I've seen him
Yeah,
seen him live a few times.
Tom Walker's got an Amazon Prime special. Go
Oh,
check
yes.
that out. That's funny.
I really like Tom, obviously, but I don't have Amazon Prime. Maybe that is the reason to
Maybe
get it.
that'll get you there. Maybe it'll get you over the hump to Amazon
Yeah,
Prime.
yeah, great.
Yeah, so many.
Maria Bamford, she's
Maybe
funny.
that's great.
Yeah, there you go. That's heaps.
That's heaps. Do you need more? Because I think
that
we
enough
probably
for your list?
I reckon we could give you 100.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want us to, but we could. I don't know if that's a threat.
Adam, do you want 100? Let us know.
Let
All
us
right.
know.
Thank you so much to everyone that supports the show at patreon.com and as well as all this other stuff. We like to give a shout out.
Alistair Tremblay Birchall, one of my favourites.
Oh, yeah.
we love
another
Alistair.
great.
We love to shout out to some
What's that? What
people.
are we up to? 6? Okay.
Settle in. Here we go.
people that support the show, we usually read out their names, Jackson, and then we come up with something to do with the episode.
Yeah, okay.
And because you are the Jess of the episode,
Yeah, sure. I'm today's Jess.
Can you think of anything as to how we would thank them?
What if we gave them each? Well, how many people is it going to be?
6.
Okay. Could we come up with maybe roles for them in Pulgasari? What was the name of the
Pulgasari?
Yeah, could we come up with maybe some roles for them in the film,
Oh,
as though
great.
we were Shin and Che, and we're making the movie.
Yeah.
We're casting them. I think that's
Right.
what we could do.
And they could all just be one of the 10,000 extras.
Yeah, there you
Extra
go.
number 9004.
Judith Lucy, that's 7.
It's taking. I like that it's taking quite a while between.
God, comedy.
Gotta find my gap here. David Quirk, 8.
We love Quirk. Okay.
Jess Perkins, 9.
Oh, good choice.
Well, I would like to kick things off if I can.
Please.
I would like to thank from Terralgan, Victoria.
Hey, great. Gippy.
I would like to thank Rosie Johnson.
Rosie Johnson, another fantastic name.
Yeah.
On your
Knocking 'em out of
Rosie.
the park.
What is Rosie Johnson doing there, Jackson?
In our film, I think Rosie Johnson. Let's change the film. Let's make the monster huge, and let's make multiple people in the outfit.
Oh, I was just thinking that
Like
we
a
can,
Voltron,
Voltron.
situation,
Yes.
and Rosie can be the head because she was first.
She's the head. So what animal? So
She can be the Minotaur's head.
Minotaur's head, and
The
that
bull's
is
head.
a what is it? A bull.
It's a bull, yeah. She can
Okay.
be the head of the bull.
Your head of the bull, two-eyed bull.
Two-eyed bull. Well, let's make it really big, and she can be one of the eyes.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
It's growing.
I mean, the ball was made of 10,000 people. On you, Rosie. I would also like to thank from Perth, here in Australia, Darcy Jacobson.
Darcy Jacobson. Well, luckily, we're plucking out some of our most Hollywood-sounding names and
for this
supporters
film.
today, so that works out well.
I think-
Darcy Jacobson.
I'd like Darcy to be the hoof.
Oh,
of the
okay.
Oh, wait, no. Minotaur's good. Okay, the human foot.
The human
of the
foot.
Minotaur.
So a full foot
Yeah.
or a toe?
Well, I guess it'll be a toe if Rosie was an eye.
Do you think
because it's
Darcy-
Which toe?
He's really tall, so I reckon he's like the long toe.
The long
Yeah,
toe.
yeah, yeah.
And it's one of the weird ones where it's really long. It's
Like,
way longer
too
than
much
the big
longer
toe.
than yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really long.
It's a sign of intelligence.
Well, there you
Really?
go, Darcy. You're welcome.
Anything weird? Yeah, well, that's a sign of intelligence.
So thank you so much, Darcy. Matt, have you got any people there that you would like to...
I reckon, do you want to just keep reading them out?
All right.
We'll keep hitting you up with body parts.
Okay,
Yeah.
how about from Brixton in England now, Ben Cook.
Oh,
Man,
Cookie.
Cook, proud, beefy name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where's
Ben Cook.
the beef go then?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the beef?
In the bicep?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. So, and...
he's rippling.
Yeah.
Hey, so you're just saying this is just human body bull
That's
head.
what's a
and
minotaur
that's what a minotaur is.
Yeah.
But we're making up a new one. So maybe the arm is a fish.
Yeah, all right.
A trout. He's got trout arm.
Yeah, a trout arm, and you can be the fin, which is kind of like the bicep of a fish arm.
Yeah.
You know,
You're the fin of the fish.
the fin of the fish.
Top of the pops. You're the fin of the fish. To coin a phrase.
Yeah.
Staying in GB now, from Lancashire in Coppell specifically, it is Luke Wholehouse.
The whole house.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Luke
mean-
can be the whole house that the creature is stepping on.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
you've been crushed, Luke.
Stepping
but
near.
Important
If we
role.
don't want to crush the whole house.
Houses are holy.
Yeah. The whole house.
The whole house.
On you, Luke. I'd like to thank now from Knoxville in Tennessee, home of the Wig Sphere. I would like to thank...
X-Files. I was watching an X-Files episode recently where they were in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Did they go to the Wig Sphere?
They didn't go to the Wig Sphere.
Oh.
What a
You
wasted
believe that?
opportunity.
God.
Is it because they were filming in Canada? Is it all filming in Canada?
Well, I think they actually changed where they filmed it
Ah.
halfway through. And then some people can say that the light looks different.
Oh.
Less spooky.
What light?
Like the lighting of the
Okay.
episode.
I'm like,
You
have
know
I
what-
missed the light? Is that
You know
a
the
character?
light.
You know, the light.
Yeah.
The light, you know,
There's the
when
smoking man.
The
the
light.
smoke is the glint in the smoking man's eyes. The light. Can I get a light? Oh, smoking man.
Well,
His,
there's...
by the way, his voice doesn't match up to what you expect.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a long time before he talks, and you're like,
Oh, 'cause
I'm
I've-
picturing gruff. I'm looking at
Yeah.
this smoking man.
Yes, Mr. Mulder.
And he's it's sort of like quite a a light and it doesn't sound smoke damaged at all.
Yeah.
But that guy smokes so many cigarettes.
I mean,
Maybe
he's
that's
the
trick.
smoking man.
Yeah. That's the one thing he's known for.
Yeah, he wants to give up, but then he's like, but this is all I've got. He tries different things.
The man.
Like the juggling man. People are like, put it away.
The man shuffling cards.
In the corner of Skinner's office, juggling. Trying to look menacing.
You said to me a while back you're going to love Skinner. Why'd you say that? Because I do love Skinner, but why did you think I was
just
going to
got
love
the
him?
feeling you'd like
Does
him.
everyone it feels like everyone would love Skinner.
Because, I don't. What are you up to?
See, late in season 2.
Right, late in season 2. Has he been a badass? He's a bit of a badass.
He's starting to be a bit of a badass.
Yeah, he's
I
great.
think I've
Mulder
watched-
punched him recently because
that's
Mulder was out.
Yeah, right.
He'd been injected or something. No, his water supply had been contaminated. I'll tell you about it.
Love it. Are you an
Dave tried to
I
tell me
think
it
I
was an
watched up
X-File.
to like season 6, and then this was years ago, and I borrowed a DVD box set from a friend, and then I had to give it back because he wanted it back. So that's where I stopped. I think around season 6.
You stopped at a great time.
And I always feel like for me, X-Files is like 2 truly dog shit episodes to 1 incredible
Right.
episode.
They had to pump them out. It's wild how much TV they had to make. It's like
Yeah.
22 short, like hour-long films in a year. It's wild.
But for like, it feels like for every 1 episode about a maggot man, there's 10 episodes about a psychic boy. You know what I mean? That feels like the X-Files ratio.
I was watching an episode with Jack Black in it recently.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, I'm like, are they trying to use this, like, there's this guy, he's like quite a famous character actor as a kid, and he could control the lightning, sort of. And I'm like, are they trying to use this as like a metaphor for angsty teens?
Oh, wow.
And then I looked it up, and that is what they were doing. And then I'm like, the inspiration was, what's his name? Christopher Carter or Chris Carter?
Oh, Chris Carter,
He's
the
the creator.
series creator, yeah.
Apparently, the idea had been around since almost the beginning, and it was just written on the wall, "Lightning Boy." that was all they're like, and then eventually they figured out we're making a metaphor for teen angst, and
Do you mean eventually they got so desperate that they went, fuck, man, 22 is a lot of episodes, isn't it? What about Lightning Boy?
Lightning
Fuck,
Boy.
put it in.
Yeah, chuck it in. There
God
it is.
damn
That's
it.
the episode.
it's fun.
Wow.
Great show. But from Knoxville in Tennessee.
I'm sorry.
You've been waiting for this. And if you're wondering if it's you, and it is you, Molly Clark.
Oh, Molly Clark.
Clark.
Molly's a great name.
I really like it too.
Yeah.
Molly Clark, fantastic.
Well, let's make Molly Clark. We'll give this creature a snake for a tongue.
Okay.
Molly Clark can be in the head
Oh,
of the
wow.
snake. Yeah. there
On
you
the
go.
head of the snake, not the tongue of the tongue.
Oh, yeah, maybe tongue of the tongue.
So the snake's the tongue, but
Yeah.
the
snake
has
itself has a tongue, yeah. And maybe we make the snake's tongue a worm, you know,
Oh, and the worm has a tongue.
descending tube animals. And the worm's tongue.
Russian snake
snakes.
dolls.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that can be our good friend Molly.
Oh, and it just keeps extending.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things we've ever said. And we didn't say it.
Extending snake tongues. It's snake tongues all the way down.
It's like, and it's, they're like behind bars, the Minotaur man, and they have to get out by pressing this button. It's on the other side of the room. And it's like, oh, my snake tongue's not long enough. And then his snake tongue pops out, which is a worm. And that's not quite long enough. Still millimeters away.
So it pops out a millipede.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Thanks, Molly Clark from Knoxville, Tennessee, home of the Wig Sphere. I would also like to finally thank from Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
Wichita woman. What's the...
Witchy
Witchy
woman.
woman.
I also thought of that.
Yeah.
Is that an early Eagles song?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but it's Elaine. Elaine's going out with a guy who, whenever Desperado comes on, he like drops out of the conversation, looks into the middle distance, and she's like, "Why can't we have a song together? We're like witchy woman." He's like, "Whoa, witchy woman." But that's Wichita Linesman. It's a famous country song.
Well, there you go.
Ah. Well, that's so good, the middle distance.
Oh, it's so funny.
Shh, Elaine.
This is my song.
Desperado. Not a good song.
Oh, I do like Witchy Woman, though. That's a good song.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a real groove.
Mm.
Witchy. And from Wichita, Kansas, it's Michael DeRizzi.
Oh, Another fantastic
DeRizzi.
name.
Michael DeRizzi. That sounds like a 90s bad boy.
Yeah, it does.
Michael DeRizzi.
All right, now who's the 90s bad boy of a Voltron type monster? Which appendage?
Maybe that would
I know.
be...
I mean, the obvious would be the dick.
Yeah,
but
hog. But let's
Full
make the
hog.
hog
The full hog.
a genuine
a
hog.
genuine hog. Yeah.
You know, to keep it PC.
I mean, to be honest, the scale of this thing is pretty bad. If the tongue, a human is just the head of the tongue, but then also a similar sized human is the entire penis.
yeah, it's a mess. We're not going to be allowed to keep making movies in North Korea.
Kim's like, I love it. I love it.
Finally, North Korean cinema has reached an incredible level.
So thanks to our 90s bad boy Michael DeRizzi there. We appreciate everything you've done for our Voltron-like creature. Well, that brings us almost to the end of the show, but the only thing left to do is to check if anyone is in the Triptych Club.
Oh,
Matt.
that's right. While you're checking that,
I don't know how to...
Okay, while I'm checking that,
Okay.
Jackson, we normally... So the Triptych Club is for supporters of the show on Patreon. Have been
wonderful.
supporting us on the shout-out level for 3 years straight. Now, Jess would normally come up with... So this is a little private area.
Yeah, sure.
They're getting in behind the velvet rope.
Oh, lovely.
Jess normally offers them a weekly hors d'oeuvre and cocktail.
Oh, okay.
Everyone who's already been inducted is still there, milling about.
Mm-hmm.
it's a
But
very,
we might have some new inductees. Either way,
Okay.
what's on the menu this week?
very exclusive.
This week we are eating delicious artisanal grass.
Oh, yes.
Laid gently, ever lovingly, even on top of a small formed mound of rice with some Himalayan pink sea salt sprinkled on top.
Oh, yum.
Fantastic.
And then to drink, we are providing water, which is good and it will hydrate.
I think
you.
we actually do
What a
need hydration.
cocktail. Water. You didn't even try to zhuzh it up with a name, fancy name or anything like that.
No, this is sometimes
But
hydration brings its own high.
But if you say it in water by J.B. Bailey.
grass, rice, salt, water.
Wow.
We
also often have a musical act playing, and we are very, very fortunate that the club tonight is experiencing a performance by the Eagles, exclusively performing Witchy Woman.
Whoa.
Changed for your benefit to
On
Wichita
loop.
Woman.
Yeah. Ooh, Wichita Woman. Great stuff. I mean, they have so many hits, but they're just going to play Witchy Woman.
Oh yeah,
And
all
then-
night, again and again.
A lot of the band members are dead now, right? Or some of them. So that's what I love about this VIP area. You can bring them back.
That's
Dave
so
has
nice.
that power.
Yeah, I brought back a few of the greats.
Only the Eagles, or does it extend to all bands?
Oh, no, I've brought back a few over the
Okay.
years, over the last few weeks.
That's exciting.
Who have we had in there?
Who have we had in there?
Well, last week we had Chuck Berry.
Oh, lovely, of course.
The report was on Chuck Berry.
That's fair.
He was
Well,
playing there with
he was exclusively playing Witchy Woman.
it was him, and he was supported by Muddy Waters. So
Oh wow,
it was a pretty good time.
what a show.
That was a great show.
Yeah.
So, do we have any inductees behind the velvet rope?
Well, this is real disappointing because if there aren't any, and I love a new member to come in
Yeah.
and be swept off their feet by grass and water.
Yeah, maybe it's for the best. I don't know. Maybe.
And this is the first time we've limited a musical act to playing one song for 3 hours on repeat.
But there's quite a few people already in there who
Or,
who are probably sobering up after Jess's wild cocktails from last week. Maybe they're parched. They're ready
getting
for a
people
water.
on the waters. Like,
Yeah.
you got to do it. It's a detox.
Yeah.
You eat the rice, you eat the salt, you eat the grass, you have a drink of water.
I'm
You listen to Wichita Woman.
Wichita Woman.
So hungry for steamed rice right now.
And grass?
And the Wichita linesman. Can I play that as well?
Yeah.
We'll get the Eagles on.
They're like, that's not us, right? Just play it. Just play it.
They
if the
know
song
it.
is
It's a
about
country
Wichita
standard.
or witches, you're playing it. The Eagles.
Other great witch songs.
I'm trying to think.
Is there some song that's like that old hoodoo called Love? Is that a song?
Oh,
Yeah, something
that
about
feels like
hoodoo,
they'd probably-
voodoo, something.
Hoodoo.
It's love.
you do.
The power of the babe. What babe? The babe with the power. That's not how that goes.
That was
Dance, magic, dance. They can play that.
Yeah, that's great.
The entire The Labyrinth soundtrack. It's basically witches. It's lucky there's no one in the club tonight.
The number one
Basically
song
witches.
that comes up is, of course, Witchy Woman from Eagles.
That's the number one witchy song.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Wichita Lions Band number 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all you need.
Ooh, we should mash them up. Ooh, Wichita Lions Band. We're losing it.
That usually means it's time to wrap up the
Yeah.
show. Jackson Baly, thank you so much for joining
Anytime.
us on this episode.
I loved it.
We appreciate you being here. Now,
Learning. It
you
was
do
great.
so many great podcasts. Would you like to
Thank you.
tell us about some of those?
Sure. If you head to sanspantsradio.com, you can find all the dirty podcasts we do. There's just a shit ton. I'm in a lot of them. Plumbing the Death Star is the big one. And if you head to SOS Presents, thank you so much, .com, you can grab tickets to our upcoming streamed live show, The Plumbing Boys Play / Ruin Dungeons and Dragons. Please check it out. I lost my eyes in the last episode. They're in a forest
Oh my
somewhere.
god, are they going to
Whoa.
come back in this episode, do you think?
I don't think so. I think they're gone forever, and I'm just permanently looking in a forest.
Oh, we could maybe get one of our patrons to play your eyes.
Oh, that would be great. I would appreciate that. Then I wouldn't be blind.
They're
No.
very versatile.
We'll see if anyone puts their hand up
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, well, it's a good call out.
But that does bring us to the end of the show. Matt, thank you so much also for being here, even though you are here every week, even more than me.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. It's been a real pleasure to be here on your podcast.
Great to have you here. And if people want to get in contact with me on my podcast, it is, of course, at DoGoOnPod for all of our social medias and dogoonpod@gmail.com if you want to drop us an email.
That's right. One of the spin-offs to this Listen Now podcast is coming back. And Dave, if you don't mind putting in the voting form for this next season, season 2, we're doing 80s rock albums.
Hell yeah.
So
I've already voted.
Have you voted? Who do
I
you
voted.
want to?
Oh, do you want me to
I
reveal?
don't,
Am I
I
allowed
don't
to
know.
reveal?
Well, yeah, it's a democracy. I think you're allowed to say.
I would love to hear you talk about a bit of Moz on there. So I voted for the Queen is Dead, the Smiths album.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah. So a listener suggested that one. I've never heard it, so that would be cool to hear. But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. So yeah, obviously it's not all. You think 80s rock, you're probably thinking cock rock or hair metal, but there is definitely a bit of that on the list. But there's all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so that should be fun. So yeah, people vote. You can vote for as many of the albums on there that you want to hear, and then we're going to count down through the top albums as we go, making sure we also feature Australian ones as well, because that was kind of the point of starting the
Yeah.
show. Jackson,
Uh-huh.
you should vote.
I will. I'll get on that the moment I get home tonight.
Democracy.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I want you to go out there and manifest it.
That really is Democracy Manifest if
Yeah.
I've ever seen it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with another episode, but until then, we'll say thank you and goodbye.
Laters.
See ya.
No, you say bye.
I'm going to say smell you later.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. I mean, if you want. It's up to you.